Chapter 398. That's why I said you wanted to kill me. You're dreaming. Left palm in front of the 9 stone golems and Lan Haicheng. He was actually absorbing the Black Lotus energy. The stone golem sealed by Su Fong was unable to restrain its anger. You're too happy too early. This is my domain, and this space was created by Master. Any Calamity Realm cultivator, or even a powerhouse on the verge of ascending, would only have their fate shackled here. Master created me, so I won't disappoint him. Is that so? You're just a puppet. Watch me absorb you clean. The stone essence energy in your body is an astonishing energy for me. Finished speaking. Like an arrow, his right hand fiercely pushed forward. His 5 fingers sucked the sealed stone golem into his palm. He once more activated his pure yang energy, making the stone essence energy use pure yang energy as its source. Zizi, the stone golem, began to tremble. After losing the sacred lotus, not only had its strength weakened, but its ability was also no longer frightening. It was no longer able to resist the astonishing suction force released by an imperishable cultivator. The stone essence energy in the stone golem's body was a dark gold color. It was sucked into Su Fong's right hand. At the same time, his left hand was also rapidly absorbing the Black Lotus. With both hands, the Black Lotus and the stone golem were unable to escape. Thinking about this mysterious space on the 7-star Demon Island, it's also an enormous opportunity for me. After absorbing it, Su Fong sensed an astonishing energy. His strength was constantly rising, especially after absorbing the Black Lotus. The dragon subduing wood was practically erupting with life energy. The Black Lotus seemed to be even more mysterious than the dragon subduing wood. It was an even more ancient and mysterious natural spiritual treasure. Lan Haicheng's pleasant surprise immediately dissipated. Why aren't those stone golems moving? As expected, the 9 stone golems didn't move. They no longer chased after him. This was unusual. According to common sense, they should continue to attack. Brat, this puppet you're controlling is just a drop in the ocean for me. What can you do after absorbing this bit of energy? The stone golem in his right hand was constantly losing its luster. Its dark gold stone essence was gradually petrifying, turning gray. It seemed it was about to lose all its strength, but its eyes were still filled with a frightening ruthlessness. If you have the ability, then come. I'm not afraid of you. If I was afraid, I wouldn't have intruded here. Remember, I'll go to your true body and crush your head. Boom! A powerful jolt. Every finger on his right hand seemed to have the power to crush a planet. With a rumbling sound, the stone golem's head was crushed. The stone golem was no longer black and had turned into a headless gray stone golem. It fell to the ground and instantly shattered into countless small stones. I feel like I've reached the peak of the undying first layer. I can break through at any moment. His entire body was filled with power. Every vein and every cell was the same. Su Fong was still able to laugh despite being imprisoned. Su Fong, Lan Haicheng hurriedly pointed forward. The 9 stone golems really did have different actions. Previously, they relied on their limbs to move and attack. Just like martial artists, they only used their physical strength. However, things were different now. The 9 stone golems protruded with astonishing black xianguang, and a large net immediately erupted. It wasn't an illusory xianguang, but a solid one, like the roots and rocks beneath their feet. Moreover, after the large rock net appeared, it was shaped like a lotus and merged with the large rock net under his feet. It was equivalent to suddenly shrinking the space and cutting it in half. So troublesome, Su Fong and Lan Haicheng subconsciously retreated. Before they could think of a way to deal with it, the lotus rock net in front of them had already extended up and down. It was really like a large net, covering the 2 of them in a relatively large space. Moreover, the large net was constantly closing in on the 2 of them. The space was getting smaller and smaller. Although Su Fong knew that the stone golems were incomparably sturdy, he still wanted to give it a try. He released a high-grade magic treasure, a broadsword, and took a step forward. Clang, the broadsword hacked at the large net. The result was the same as the high-grade silver flying sword from before. The net didn't move at all. Instead, the broadsword lost its luster. Grandpa's. In this dangerous situation, Su Fong also lost his reason and roared. Russell. The Black Lotus rock net had already thoroughly shackled the two of them under the 9 stone golem's divine abilities. The space was constantly shrinking, and the two of them would eventually be caught in the large net. The 9 stone golems weren't simple. They hadn't used their true abilities before. It turned out that each of them could use divine abilities. Moreover, their abilities were so terrifying. In addition, the stone golems had the ability to absorb space. Su Fong and Lan Haichun were caught in the large net and had no way out. We can't wait to be wrapped in the large net. Lan Haichun retreated step by step and stared at the large net in front of him. He couldn't help but grab Su Fong's arm. Let's fight to the death. Even if we die, we won't have any complaints. Su Fong calmed down slightly. He suddenly felt that this world was filled with a loneliness that he had never felt before. It was like being in a lonely ocean. Fortunately, Lan Haichun was with him. If he was alone, it would be difficult for him to hold on. No. At this moment, Su Fong felt his Tao heart and willpower slightly relax. He immediately erased this thought and state, "Senior sister, we won't die. However, we have to work hard." Back then, when I fell into the Xinjia Gate, I faced a predicament far worse than now. However, I still survived. I believe that this space can't do anything to me. The 9 stone golems released their magic power. Together with the power of space, they had complete control over everything. The 9 stone golems shouted at the same time, "You won't live. Let me use my strength. You won't even be able to survive. Look at the white bones on the ground. They're all slowly being absorbed by my space. Only the two of you dare to resist. Let me take action." Lan Haichun cried out in alarm. He grabbed Su Fong's arm with even more strength. "Oh no, there's no way out. There's only 30 feet of space. If we retreat any further, we'll be completely shackled by the large net." Su Fong's gaze was incomparably sharp. "Then there's no need to retreat anymore. Senior sister, inject your true qi into my body. I'll use my defense and barrier to resist the large net's continued oppression." Bang! Lan Haichun once again arrived behind Su Fong. For some reason, looking at this ordinary disciple in front of him, he suddenly felt that his back was incomparably majestic. It was as if the life of a catastrophe realm cultivator had to be handed over to this indestructible realm cultivator in front of him. Barrier. After forming a seal, countless Xian Guang and divine runes immediately gushed out from Su Fong's surroundings. They immediately condensed and formed a barrier in the remaining 30 feet of space. Pow, pow, pow. The Black Lotus stone net also pressed down on the barrier, causing it to constantly tremble. It felt like the barrier would be crushed in an instant. And within the barrier, Su Fong's body was perfectly straight. His chest was puffed out, and his hands were spread out, supporting the barrier high up. He was using his physical body to resist the 9 stone golems. Lan Haichun's face grew paler. Seeing the net and the 9 stone golems pressing down on him, his eyes were already wet. He couldn't help but snort. In the end, I'll also die here and become a part of the fragrant Jade Society. I still dreamed of becoming the immortal sealing sex #1 faction under Senior Apprentice Sister Huang's leadership. Once the #1 faction exterminates Prince Shui and Changsheng, the immortal sealing sect will only have the fragrant Jade Society. Then Senior Apprentice Sister Huang will be able to realize her dream and become the future leader. Then I can also continue cultivating in the immortal sealing sect. In the end, I'll be like those legendary seniors. I'll break through the shackles of my physical body, cross the calamity, and step into the great world. Dreams, dreams. So at this moment, they're just dreams and delusions. Everything is just delusions. How can the insignificant us fight the heavens and the earth? Senior Apprentice Sister, I'm sorry. Haichun failed to live up to your expectations. As the 9 stone golems and the Black Lotus stone net pushed forward, the barrier creaked and trembled. Lan Haiqing's Tao heart was finally shattered. Death would come at any time when the barrier was broken. In the end, what was the great Tao? What was the number one faction? What was the future of the great world? In the end, it was just a dream. It had been a dream for many years. Now, he finally woke up and saw everything clearly. In the end, he still had to be like a mortal and turn into dust. At the moment of life and death, Lan Haiqing's spirit eyes didn't have a trace of moisture, only paleness. Senior apprentice sister, Su Fong, with her undying first-layer cultivation base, supported the barrier with both hands to resist the 9 stone golems. Her eyes burst with a thunderous luster as she swept Lan Haiqing. Even if we die, we can't just wait for death. Moreover, we're still alive. Su Fong's gaze turned into a line and fell on Lan Haiqing. Believe me, we won't die. We won't die here. Junior apprentice brother, Lan Haiqing stammered. The fear buried in his heart almost turned into tears and gushed out of his eyes. Ha ha, human, now you know how powerful I am. You, a little brat, still have a long way to go. The 9 stone golems had the same expression. Bullshit. You're powerful, but I'm not dead yet. Su Fong felt that the barrier was about to collapse in her hands at any moment. However, she fully activated the 9 Yang 9 transformations and absorbed the pure Yin energy of the Origin Saint realm, turning it into Yin and Yang energy. Her whole body was in a state of Yin and Yang fusion. The stone essence energy she absorbed from the stone golems immediately burst out, along with the Yin and Yang energy. At this moment, it exploded and pervaded the barrier. Lan Haiqing's attention was attracted by the Yin and Yang energy. What kind of power is this? It can actually make the true qi in my body resonate. We won't die. Senior apprentice sister, please believe me. No matter what, you and I have to get out alive. I also have to pull Prince Shui down from the altar in front of countless disciples of the Celestial Sealing Sect and personally step on him. A brilliant smile appeared on Su Fong's face. Then she used all her strength to activate the barrier. Buzz! The entire barrier was about to collapse. However, the stone essence energy was activated by the Yin and Yang energy. Unexpectedly, the barrier began to absorb the aura of the black lotus stone net. Moreover, it also absorbed the stone essence energy released by the 9 stone golems. It was as if the power of the barrier had surpassed the stone golems and was above the space. She was overjoyed. The power of Yin and Yang dual cultivation is really wonderful. Now I'm activating the stone golem's power to absorb the aura of the 9 stone golems and the space's aura. Instead, it brings me astonishing power. Just now, supporting the barrier consumed more than half of the power of my 3 Yang meridians. This is the first time I've consumed so much energy since I cultivated the Yang meridians. Now, by absorbing the aura of the outside world, I'm starting to recover. One person was supporting the barrier. It was also the first time Su Fong had released all the energy in his body. Otherwise, how could he, with his undying first-layer cultivation, release the barrier and persist under the pressure of the 9 stone golems until now? All of this was because of the 3 Yang meridians that Su Fong had a majestic sea of true qi. Damn it! You brat, you dare to use the energy you absorb from my golems to absorb the energy of my 9 golems. The 9 stone golems were enraged at the same time. Su Fong's aura surged. You can absorb our energy, so why can't I absorb yours? Stone golems, just wait outside and see how I'll deal with you. Today, we'll both die together, but I won't let you be complacent. Hee hee, thank you for your energy. Instead, it allowed me to continuously recover and grow stronger. Then I'll deal with you. Could it be that his strength, his ability, and his extraordinariness all came from tempering himself in this kind of adversity? Lan Haiqing sensed that the barrier's aura was like a startled swan that wanted to break through its oppression. For a moment, he was filled with endless guesses about Su Fong. Chapter 399. An undying realm disciple could do something that even a catastrophe realm cultivator couldn't do. Wasn't that a miracle? Lan Haicheng's restless eyes only focused on Su Feng's mysterious back. Everything else turned into flowing water. Human brat, I'll play with you slowly. The 9 stone golems emitted the aura of black gold stone essence, suppressing the black lotus stone net. Su Feng was turning the barrier into yin and yang energy, eventually becoming a yin and yang energy space, speeding up the absorption of the 9 stone golem's energy. The yin and yang energy was really wonderful. Even Lan Haicheng could clearly feel that the strange space outside could no longer swallow and absorb his energy. So powerful, so powerful. The stone golems want to help me. I only have a few years left before I have to fight Prince Shui. But at this time, the stone golems want to give me the power to transform again. Any aura, including the stone golem's stone essence energy, as well as the cold aura of this space, were all absorbed by Su Feng. They were once again fused with the pure yang energy in her body, directly increasing her true qi. Su Feng had already reached the Undying Realm first layer after absorbing the stone golem. Now, she was 1 layer higher. No, I have to break through to the Undying Realm second layer. Anyway, the yin and yang energy can let me fight against the stone golems. Plus, the stone golems haven't really attacked yet. It's the best time for me to advance step by step. Senior sister. Thinking of this, she told Lan Haicheng her thoughts. The latter treated Su Feng as a monster. At this time, she actually wanted to advance. Lan Haicheng was also powerless. He could only hope that Su Feng could become stronger again. Xian Wang, you, and Rakshasa Yu Changping continued to control the yin and yang energy. The stone golem's essence absorb will be left with you. When I break through to the second layer, I'll absorb it. After issuing the order, she first let Lan Haicheng control the barrier, then secretly inserted 2 magic tools into Lan Haicheng's body, especially Xian Wang's 6 Paths Pagoda, which was Su Feng's secret. At this time, she had no choice but to insert the magic tool into Lan Haicheng's body. With the help of the 2 magic tools, Lan Haicheng could also support the barrier. Lan Haicheng also activated his own powerful magic tools. He began to use his Catastrophe Realm aura to activate the barrier to resist the 9 stone golems. 100 acupuncture points finger technique. He sat cross-legged less than 10 feet behind Blue Ocean City. Just as he was about to explode, he unsealed his acupoints, causing the Jinqi in his 3 yang meridians, his violet qi spirit, his dantian, and his meridians to explode. The energy turned into waves and rushed out in all directions. A large amount of impurities still gushed out of the placenta, and the force was divided into 2 layers. Second layer of Immortality. Su Feng continued to use the 100 acupoints finger technique, guiding the power of advancement to attack his entire body. His meridians and bones were under the impact, and a large amount of them shattered. In the end, many impurities appeared. This was especially so for the 4th yang meridian that he was currently cultivating. He then took out a small knife and made many cuts on his body. In one breath, he implanted the immortal fruit slices into his flesh. At the same time, he took many marrow cleansing pills and pure essence pills. His body, which had just transformed to the second layer, began to recover at an astonishing speed. He also secretly communicated with Lan Haicheng. The Rakshasa Jade Bear Bottle and Xian Huang's 6 Paths Pagoda began to absorb the stone essence energy from the space behind Lan Haicheng. Su Feng began to absorb it. Cultivation techniques, perfect physical body, immortal fruits, stone essence energy, medicinal pills, and all kinds of energy flooded Su Feng, bringing unimaginable power. The stone golem's power was astonishing and endless. If Su Feng wanted to absorb and refine the stone golem's power, he would need an even more powerful and profound body. As a result, he had to advance to another realm. His body would also change along with it. At this time, his thoughts scattered. Senior apprentice sister, can you hold on? With your 2 royal-grade magic tools and the divine might that can absorb the stone golem's suppressive power, I can hold on. But you have to be prepared. In the end, It will still be up to you to control, replied Lan Haicheng calmly. The catastrophe realm was indeed not simple. Without the ability to suppress or resist the space stone golems, he could still hold on for so long. If it were a Yang soul cultivator, they wouldn't even be able to hold on for 10 breaths. I'll take advantage of this to break through to the third layer of the imperishable realm. I'll use the stone golems, immortal fruits, and other resources to wantonly advance here. In any case, I still have a trump card. The stone golems are nothing. As for the master he mentioned, he's the one who's truly undefeatable. As he opened and closed, he activated his perfect physical body. With the power of the 9 suns as the main force, he absorbed the terrifying cold energy from the origin sacred realm, causing his body to be in a state of dual yin and yang cultivation. The stone golem's power was too advanced. Not only did they have stone essence energy, but they also had the life force from the mysterious black lotus. It could be said that the stone golem's power was the essence. They could directly fuse the power of yin and yang and turn it into true qi. Therefore, Su Fang's current situation was similar to receiving marrow cleansing and enlightenment. The difference was that he was receiving marrow cleansing and enlightenment himself. As for other cultivators, they were receiving marrow cleansing from powerhouses. In just 2 hours, Su Fang once again unsealed all the acupoints in his body. 3 layers of energy crazily rushed out, bringing with it an astonishing tribulation energy. It shook the barrier until it burst. 3 layers of the indestructible realm. With a roar in his heart, he held back his excitement and continued to attack his body, absorbing all kinds of energy. At the same time, he took out an immortal fruit and used the power of yin and yang. He also took out a lot of aphrodisiac pills. He melted the immortal fruit's power, stripped it, and then fused the immortal fruit's essence into the aphrodisiac pills. Dozens of pills immediately flew to Lan Haicheng. Senior sister, take these aphrodisiac pills. Swallow one at a time. They contain abundant life force. Is that so? Lan Haicheng was so tired that her face was pale. She was lacking power. As soon as she saw the aphrodisiac pills, she didn't hesitate and immediately took one. The immortal fruit and pure yang energy perfectly fused and immediately exploded in her body. Her pale face disappeared in an instant. She quickly took another one. Lan Haicheng's aura recovered bit by bit. Unfortunately, she couldn't absorb the stone essence energy. Otherwise, she would have broken through inside. Good. This strange space is full of stone essence and black lotus essence. I don't know how much of it there is. It's simply a treasure trove of energy. No matter how much I absorb, it's just a drop in the ocean. Fortunately, the stone monster didn't realize this. Seeing me and Lan Haicheng trapped in this space, it thought we were still prey on its chopping board. She quickly reached the peak of the undying third layer. Su Fang, whose confidence had greatly increased, coldly smiled and ruthlessly cut a large number of wounds on her body. Lan Haicheng took a lot of aphrodisiac pills and recovered her life force. Only then did she have the energy to notice Su Fang. Junior brother, why are you injuring your body like this? This is a cultivation method I accidentally thought of to increase my cultivation speed. It can quickly fuse with all kinds of spiritual items. Senior sister, don't worry. Your body is really strange. With this method, who can withstand the countless impurities in spiritual items? Cultivators can only refine them on the outside to ultimately leave behind the essence for themselves to absorb. If you do this, not only will you injure your body, but it will also bring a large amount of impurities to your body. In the end, you won't be able to cultivate. Lan Haicheng's words were filled with concern. She wasn't wrong at all. He had discovered that there were a lot of impurities in his body, most of which came from a high-level strength. Just as Lan Haicheng thought, a cultivator couldn't directly absorb and refine spiritual items with their body. This was because spiritual items weren't pure strength and would eventually bring about shackles that would damage the body. But Su Fang was different. His body had reached the peak of perfection, and he also had pure yang strength. When the two were combined, his body could directly swallow any strength. Senior apprentice sister, you don't need to worry about me. I've already broken through from the undying first layer to the undying third layer. I will continue to advance step by step, but I'll have to trouble senior sister to hold on for a bit longer. You've done so much for me, and I've also done my best. It's not hard at all. Lan Haicheng finally faintly smiled. Hope. She saw hope. She didn't know why, but before, she didn't believe that they would survive. She was also skeptical of Su Fang's words. But after a short period of time, there seemed to be a voice calling out to her from the unseen world, telling her to believe in Su Fang. Su Fang secretly reminded her, Senior apprentice sister, we can't let the stone golem increase its oppressive strength. We can deliberately make it look weak and weak. This way, we can drag it out longer. If it sees our condition getting better and better, it will definitely launch an even more terrifying attack. Lan Haicheng agreed with these words. She controlled the enchantment's momentum and slightly weakened it. Pa 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 pa, she used the 100 acupoints finger art again and again to attack her body. Hundreds of wounds opened up on her body, and she became a bloody person, greedily implanting a large number of fresh fruit slices. Right now, her only thought was to survive. In order to survive, Su Fang disregarded everything and completely let go of all distracting thoughts. There were only 4 words in her mind: to strengthen herself. After another period of time, boom! 4 layers of strength rushed out from Su Fang's body. 4th layer, imperishable realm. Before Su Fang could be happy, she cut a large number of bloody wounds on her body and once again implanted slices of immortal fruit. She swallowed all kinds of resources, especially the stone essence chi. After reaching the 4th layer of the indestructible realm, Su Fang's change was very obvious. She absorbed the stone essence chi twice as fast, and her physical body was several times stronger than before. She could also fuse several times as much true chi. Back then, in the Xinjia Gate, there was more energy there. It was 100 times more dangerous than here, but in the Xinjia Gate, I was not in such a state of improvement. Her confidence was once again boosted. Su Fang thought of the Xinjia Gate, where she and Green Feather King did not focus on cultivation in order to survive. This time, she didn't expect that the 7 Stars Demon Island, which was shackled to being inferior to the Xinjia Gate, will be constantly promoted because of this. Things of the world were so mysterious. In unexpected places, at unexpected times, all kinds of unexpected things were obtained. Lan Haicheng's disguise did indeed buy more time. The 9 stone golems were baring their fangs and brandishing their claws outside. But in fact, they didn't expect that Su Fang was rising to a terrifying height step by step. After swallowing countless resources, Su Fang began to secretly condense the flesh fetus divine armor to improve her physical defense. Especially, he was cultivating the heaven-worshipping palm in his dantian. He was using his true chi to nourish the heaven-worshipping stone statue, because this was his trump card to get out of this predicament. A large amount of stone essence chi poured into Su Fang's body. If it wasn't for the pure yang energy, Su Fang's body would be filled with the stone golem's black stone essence chi. Buzz. A new flesh fetus divine armor formed. Su Fang didn't expect it to be filled with stone essence chi, as well as pure yang energy. Furthermore, because of the stone essence chi, the flesh fetus divine armor turned into layers of black stone. It felt the same as the stone golems. Heavens, this is incredible. I didn't expect the stone essence chi to cause such a change in my body. The stone essence chi almost turned my physical body into stone. All right, since the stone golems can use the essence stone chi to its limit, why can't I use the essence stone chi to create more divine abilities with the essence stone chi as the core? Bang! As he cultivated, he also studied the stone essence chi, trying to figure out how to use it more perfectly. Unexpectedly, after absorbing a large amount of resources and energy, his chi exploded once more. 5 layers of chi. This aura caused the barrier to tremble. Chapter 400. Indestructible fifth layer. Marvelous, truly marvelous. Let's see how much time the stone golem will give me to continue breaking through. At this moment, Su Fong actually liked this strange space. He only had one thought, which was to stay here and not leave. With such terrifying stone essence chi and the life force of the Black Lotus, Su Fong still wanted to leave? He wasn't an idiot. Why would he look for such a place again? He executed the 100 acupoints finger art to guide the force of the impact. Then, countless small holes appeared on his body. As he devoured the energy, he wantonly absorbed the stone essence chi. He secretly transmitted his voice. "Senior sister, how do you feel?" Lan Haiqing's robes fluttered in the wind. He turned around and said, "It's all right. I can hold on. It's not a problem." "I got a lot of power, elder sister," Yang Qi said. "You should take advantage of this opportunity to get stronger. You're in the first division of the tribulation level, right? You just reached the first cycle of life seizing. I've cultivated for 1,000 years and only reached the first level of the catastrophe realm. If I hadn't met senior apprentice Sister Huang, I wouldn't have been able to advance so quickly. If I had relied on myself, I wouldn't have been able to break through from the Yang Soul realm to the catastrophe realm in less than 3,000 years. Senior Huang has an exceptional desolate body, right? You also know this secret? Please, this is no longer a secret. The disciples of the 3 exalted Daos all have their own special abilities. Moreover, I've also seen senior apprentice Sister Huang's physique. I feel like she can go anywhere. It seems senior apprentice Sister Huang has treated you quite well. I view senior apprentice sister as my own older sister, and she also views me as her own younger sister. We wholeheartedly want to strengthen the fragrant jade party to allow us women to have self-respect in front of men, to be able to support half the sky. Senior apprentice Sister Huang's strength and aptitude is not something you can imagine. That's right. An ordinary disciple from Su Fong is nothing in the immortal sealing gate. Naturally, he can't be compared to Senior Huang. Don't misunderstand. What I'm saying is, I'm saying that senior sister is senior sister, and you are you. I don't understand you, but now I know just how hard it is for others to see through you. Even if senior sister Huang ended up in this type of space, she would still end up dead. Lan Haiqing felt that he had unknowingly hurt Su Fong, so he quickly explained. The latter did not care about this. Live way of living in this world. There are as many ways to live as there are people. For a beggar, as long as he had enough food and a good night's sleep. For an artisan, they didn't need to go anywhere for the rest of their lives. They could just focus on crafting one item after another. For a businessman, all he thought about was how to earn profits. Therefore, everyone had their own way of living. Su Fong deeply understood this point. Why did he have to pay attention to other people's gazes? Why did he have to walk the path that everyone else had walked? In the blink of an eye, he channeled a portion of his life force and pure yang energy into Lan Haiqing's back. She could almost feel the snowy and smoky skin behind Lan Haiqing's silky clothes. Pure yang energy is exactly what I need, Yang Qi thought. It will help me achieve a balance between yin and yang, and help me break through to the second revolution of life seizing. Feeling the warm yang energy entering his body, Lan Haiqing's eyes were full of surprise and joy. About to break through? In that case, I'll support the enchantment. Elder sister, use this opportunity to reach the second cycle of life seizing. Su Fong stood up, and Lan Haiqing withdrew his aura. He saw Su Fong once again place his hands on the barrier, propping it up. The 2 magic treasures also returned to Su Fong's body. Since that was the case, after reaching the indestructible 5th layer, his body had undergone earth-shaking changes. Su Fong once again began to directly absorb the stone essence energy pouring into the barrier. Lan Haiqing went to the back and sat down cross-legged. As he formed hand seals, the shocking tribulation energy poured out of his body. Damn it! The 9 stone golems seemed to have noticed this. Perhaps they had noticed Su Fong's tribulation energy before, But what did the indestructible stage count for? But now that they felt the tribulation energy of the catastrophe stage, they could not help but be moved. The 9 stone golems angrily shouted together, "I can't let you continue to be so presumptuous. If you have any ability, just come at me. I'll take it." Su Fong fiercely retorted. He absorbed the stone essence energy and poured it into his 3 yang meridians: purple chi spirit, dantian, divine aperture, and meridians. Worried that the stone golems would really have a terrifying attack, he first took the opportunity to reach the peak of the indestructible 5th layer and store a large amount of energy. Pop! Tribulation energy and astral energy fused together, forming a defensive barrier around him. A moment later, Lan Haiqing felt a bit weak, but his expression was one of delight. "Junior apprentice brother, many thanks. I've reached the 2nd tribulation stage, and now I'm in the 2nd tribulation stage. Once I leave this space, I'll be able to transcend tribulation and officially have a 2nd tribulation fleshly body. If it weren't for you, it would have taken me 100 years to break through. Every level of the catastrophe stage takes hundreds of years to break through. It really was because of Su Fong that he had been able to break through. Pure yang energy and life force power were exactly what catastrophe experts needed." Crackle! Suddenly, rumbling sounds could be heard coming from outside the barrier. Looking outside, he saw the 9 stone golems controlling the black lotus stone net. It was gradually becoming circular, as if it were trying to completely lock down the barrier. Su Fong didn't back down and continued to absorb the stone golem's power as quickly as possible. The power of yin and yang was simply too extraordinary. Elder apprentice sister, don't get distracted. Focus on getting stronger. The stone golems won't be able to lock us down anytime soon. With that, Su Fong was able to easily control the barrier. By now, he was at the peak of the 5th stage of the Undying Realm. Unfortunately, he didn't have a chance to break through. The stone golems still think I'm an ant. I'll be an ant for now. Once they show up, they'll realize I'm a mountain. No matter how much pressure the 9 stone golems exerted on the barrier, the yin and yang energy in the barrier melted away and then poured into Su Fong. At every moment, Su Fong felt as if he was being enlightened, cleansed, and raised his strength. Furthermore, he was using the stone quintessence energy to attack his 4th yang meridian. Such high-level power was perfect for cultivating his yang meridian. Stone quintessence energy can strengthen my fleshly bodyguard armor. Why can't it be used in my attacks? As he stood there, he continued to think about how to use the stone quintessence energy. Looking around, this space was filled with the stone golem's black rocks. Furthermore, they were all filled with quintessence energy. He didn't know how long this space had been born, but the rocks here all possess stone quintessence energy. If I can completely release the stone quintessence energy, then wouldn't I be able to take control of everything in this strange space? Just thinking about it didn't mean he could do it. Often, imaginations were just like dreams, unreachable. To put it bluntly, it was just a daydream. But he still began to extract the stone quintessence energy and pour it into his dantian. But the strange thing was that although the stone quintessence energy was also black like the stone golems, there was also an inky color within it. The inky color should be the energy he had absorbed from the immortal stones in the Immortal Jia Gate. But at that time, he hadn't absorbed much of it. Now it was above the black stone quintessence energy. It seemed the stone golems were the spiritual energy of a mortal world, while the inky immortal stones were the spiritual energy of a great world. Thinking of that, Su Fong had an idea. He activated the inky immortal stone quintessence and began to merge it with the stone quintessence energy in his dantian. Then he activated his heavenly overarching sword chi. Within his dantian, the stone quintessence energy began to tremble rhythmically. It began to merge rhythmically, forming inky black sword chi. The sword chi was still incorporeal. It hadn't reached the level of a corporeal state like the stone golems, but it was still very good. This state is similar to an ordinary divine ability. I have to let the stone quintessence energy reach a corporeal state. Thinking about it, he began to study it again. Fortunately, he had the heavenly devil disintegration seal. He could split his divine sense, allowing him to do two things at once. I don't want to play with you anymore. The 9 stone golems finally made a new move. They angrily roared and then sent out huge palms. An unimaginably terrifying scene occurred. The 9 stone golems' divine abilities caused the Black Lotus's stone net to begin to melt and merge. It turned into an incomparably hard rock that wrapped around the barrier like a dumpling. Su Fong was startled. Senior apprentice sister, get up. Swoosh. Lan Haicheng immediately came over. Seeing the barrier being wrapped by the black rock layer, he was quite frightened. If this continued, the barrier would be trapped inside the black rock layer. Wouldn't that mean it would be completely shackled? Since we can't continue this stalemate, senior apprentice sister, be careful. Watch how I break through this black rock layer. Su Fong's expression changed. She was like an overlord. She first protected Lan Haicheng, then formed a hand seal. A high-level aura that didn't belong to the mortal realm filled her body. Heaven-worshipping stone statue. In an instant, Su Fong flipped her hands, and a huge stone statue appeared in front of her. As soon as the stone statue appeared, it fiercely struck the barrier and began to expand. Su Fong had already thought of using the heaven-worshipping stone statue to deal with the stone golems. The stone statue was originally 30 meters tall, but the barrier space had been shackled to less than 20 meters. Once the stone statue appeared, it naturally had to expand the barrier to 30 meters tall. Heaven-worshipping palm technique, break. Retreating a bit more, Su Fong's palms directly struck the barrier she had created. Clap, clap, clap. Although the heaven-worshipping stone statue wasn't a magic treasure, it could still be considered a weapon. Furthermore, it was an immortal stone. Its hardness surpassed the material of the mortal realm. Adding on the heaven-worshipping palm technique, the stone statue sent out a huge palm. First, it broke the barrier, then sent out a few more palm strikes. Boom! A deafening explosion shook both Su Fong and Lan Haicheng. Fortunately, the heaven-worshipping stone statue shattered the black stone layer, causing the surrounding area to collapse. The barrier and the black stone layer collapsed together. The 9 stone golems looked at the heaven-worshipping stone statue that had suddenly appeared in front of them. They were incomparably shocked. This is material from a great world. How can a brat from a mortal realm like you control the power of a great world? Amidst the collapse, Su Fong practically jumped up with Lan Haicheng. He immediately stood on the statue's shoulder. Stone golem, let's see if you're stronger, or if the statue in my hand is stronger. Let's see if your space can restrain me. Brat, don't be so impudent. Die. The 9 stone golems sent out a palm at the same time. 9 boundless divine energy sprayed out black light, forming a stone fist with black stone as its essence. The stone fist smashed toward the heaven-worshipping stone statue's head. Heaven-worshipping palm technique. Su Fong stepped onto the statue, and Lan Haicheng gradually steadied himself. He was so scared that he was drained of energy. The black stone fist was at least at the royal grade. In other words, it was a royal grade magical item. Only someone with a royal grade magical item, or a cultivation base at the 9 life seizing level, could possibly block it. The heaven-worshipping stone statue took a step forward and pushed out the heaven-worshipping palm art with both hands. With a loud bang, it collided with the giant stone fists in midair, creating a terrifying tearing force that forced the 9 stone golems to retreat continuously, while the heaven-worshipping stone statue remained unmoved. Su Fong's eyebrows danced with exultation. Stone golem, it seems I overestimated you. You're originally made from an earth-type stone quintessence from a mortal realm. But this statue I control comes from a great world and is made from immortal stone. Its hardness is comparable to a Tao item. How could a body from a mortal realm possibly resist the power of a great world? Chapter 401. Su Fong was unforgiving. He threw out some harsh words to the 9 stone golems. Everything has its vanquisher. Stone golems, you finally know how powerful I am, right? Although the 9 stone golems were infuriated, they still acted as if they were in control of the situation. Don't forget that this is my territory. This space was built by master using my core. Let's see if an imperishable cultivator like you can control this world's matter for a long time. Junior apprentice brother, the stone golem is correct. Even Lon Haicheng had long since thought of this. You don't need to worry about that. I, Su Fong, don't have any other abilities, but my energy is comparable to a Yang soul expert. Su Fong chuckled. You don't have any other abilities, but your abilities are great. Lon Haicheng wished he could kick Su Fong, who was trying to be obedient, off the stage. Whoosh! The 9 stone golems once more released their attacks. But this time, each of them released their Xian Guang, condensing their stone essence energy into lotus-shaped sword chi. Furthermore, the sword chi quickly solidified, becoming petrified lotus swords. Each one of them was harder than a high-grade enchanted item. What a familiar aura. A large number of lotus swords floated in the air. For some reason, Su Fong felt that these lotus swords were familiar. He immediately controlled the Heavenly Reverence stone statue to use the Heavenly Reverence palm to deal with the stone swords. Lon Haicheng's spirit eyes suddenly flashed. Do you think it's similar to the Green Lotus Sword Sect's sword chi? The Green Lotus Sword Sect. In his mind, he thought of quite a few battles with the Green Lotus Sword Sect's cultivators, as well as the scenes of him cultivating the Lotus Curve sword chi. Then he thought of Gu Shizhen telling him some of the Green Lotus Sword Sect's sword arts. Lon Haicheng's guess really was correct. Why were the stone golems' attacks so similar to the Green Lotus Sword Sect's? Was this space related to the Green Lotus Sword Sect? Swish! Swish! The 9 stone swords were over 3 meters long. Some are crisscrossing, some are sharp. Under the control of the 9 stone golems, they came from different directions. The Heavenly Reverence stone statue activated the Heavenly Reverence palm. With Su Fong's power as a foundation, a shocking amount of Heavenly Reverence palms, astral chi, surged out in every direction, clashing with the stone swords. Clang, 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 it had completely reached the level of royal Grey Dharma artifacts. In fact, it was superior to most royal Grey Dharma artifacts. The stone statue and the stone sword came from a great world and a small world. I have to use the heaven-worshipping palm art and control the heaven-worshipping stone statue. The energy in my Dantian has been completely used up. Now, I have to use the spatial energy of my 3 yang meridians. He exclaimed in his heart. In the time it took for half an incense stick to burn, Su Fong had used up all the energy in his Dantian by controlling the stone statue to perform the heaven-worshipping palm art. No matter how much energy he had, he couldn't use the power from the great world for a long time. Previously, when he and Lon Haicheng had persevered within the barrier and sustained the barrier, the energy of the 3 yang veins had been greatly depleted. Now, the rate of depletion was even faster than before. Pop had 9 stone swords attacked the Reverence Heaven stone statue with their left hand and clashed with the Reverence Heaven palm arts again and again. If the Reverence Heaven palm arts could not protect the 2 of them, then Su Fong and Lon Haicheng would not be able to withstand the power of the stone swords. The energy is becoming more and more astonishing. The energy in his Dantian had been completely depleted, and one of the 3 yang meridians had been completely depleted of yang energy. If this continued, the other 2 yang meridians would be completely depleted in 2 hours. In the end, only the energy within the purple aura magic spirit was left. Even if I don't want the Reverence Heaven stone statue, I will destroy all of you. If this continued, they would only be waiting for death. Sensing Lon Haicheng's trembling, Su Fong's thoughts seemed to be sealed in ice. All the impurities disappeared, leaving only one thought. Destroy the 9 stone statues. Go! Su Fong used the Reverence Heaven stone statue to activate the heaven-worshipping palm arts. The 2 of them leaped to the back, and the entire stone statue attacked the 9 stone golems. Boom, 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 the surrounding stone swords were either attacked by the Reverence Heaven stone statue or struck the stone statue. At this moment, they were all shattered by the stone statue. This was a clash between a high-grade material from the Great World and a material from the Great World. The result was obvious. The stone golems were no match for the Reverence Heavenstone statue. I don't believe that I can't destroy you. The Reverence Heavenstone statue was closing in on the 9 stone golems, but they did not dodge. Each of them looked furious and directly punched the Reverence Heavenstone statue with their fists. Su Fong released even more energy and pushed the Reverence Heavenstone statue back, causing the stone statue to move at an astonishing speed. We must destroy the stone golems. Bang! 2 stone golems used their fists to attack the Reverence Heavenstone statue's chest. Crack, crack, starting from the fists, the 2 stone golems' fists directly cracked apart, not the Reverence Heavenstone statue. In the blink of an eye, the stone golems were completely shattered. They collapsed like pots, turning into rubble. Bang, bang! The other stone golems instantly used their divine power and used their stone fists to attack the Reverence Heavenstone statue. Crack! A tearing sound came from the Reverence Heavenstone statue's body. Almost at the same time, the surrounding stone golems also began to shatter from their arms. The stone golems crumbled and turned into dust. When Su Fong obtained the Reverence Heavenstone statue from the Reverence Heaven Immortal Ruins, it already had some cracks. It had been attacked before. Now, from the neck to the lower abdomen, there were no less than 100 cracks. The stone golems had already turned into dust. However, outside the space, the huge stone golem loudly shouted, "Human, I want to completely control this space and seal you. The Reverence Heavenstone statue originally wanted to keep you to cultivate the Reverence Heaven palm art. In the future, you can go to the Great World and exchange it for a big price. However, today, you'll have to stay here. Kill a way out for me and shatter this space." Su Fong and Lan Haicheng leaped up together. The Reverence Heavenstone statue moved again and flew toward the edge of the spatial tree roots. Boom, boom, boom. At this moment, the space trembled. It seemed like the space was about to change. Looking back, Su Fong held back his strength and had Lan Haicheng cooperate. He released all his strength and pushed the Reverence Heavenstone statue toward the boundary of the space. Rumble. As the Reverence Heavenstone statue crashed into the boundary of the spatial tree roots, the world shook. Then the space trembled violently. It felt like a hole had been shattered in the world, and a large number of collapsing sounds came. It turned out that the Reverence Heavenstone statue had crashed heavily into the boundary of the space, shattering a large number of tree roots and rocks that were blocking the space. The Reverence Heavenstone statue flew out and appeared in front of Su Fong and Lan Haicheng. They had killed their way out. The 2 of them took a breath and stepped out of the hole. They could no longer feel the heavy shackles. They were like fish that had come to the surface of the water and could breathe freely. Stone golem. A few dozen feet in front of them, Su Fong saw the stone golem on the ground that looked like tree roots. His killing intent soared. He immediately activated the Reverence Heavenstone statue. Of the 3 yang meridians in his body, only the last one still had a bit of power left. He used it all to activate the Reverence Heavenstone statue. Taking advantage of this irresistible momentum, he shattered the stone golem in front of him. Crack! Boom! The stone statue had just leaped up when it suddenly trembled in midair. The cracks on its body were like a sword explosion. In an instant, the cracks spread from its body to its head, hands, and legs. Then, just like when it had shattered the 9 stone golems, the Reverence Heavenstone statue smashed itself in midair. The 30-foot-tall stone statue finally turned into a large number of grayish-white immortal stones that fell to the ground. After a short rumble and tremble, the ground was covered in grayish-white immortal stones. It seemed that the Reverence Heavenstone statue had used up all of its immortal stone energy at the same time it shattered. The stone golem laughed. "Ha ha, brat. Let's see if you can continue being so arrogant. Without this stone statue from a great world, you can still be so arrogant." Senior apprentice sister. He didn't bother with the stone golem, nor did he attack again. He couldn't take the initiative to attack. Every bit of time he could buy was a bit of time. He's secretly communicated with Lan Haicheng. I still have some resources here that can be strengthened and recovered. However, it might have some influence in the future. We've already exhausted ourselves to this point. What are you thinking about in the future? We have to seize the present and live past this moment. Only then will there be a tomorrow. Although Lan Haicheng didn't know what other resources Su Fong had from his tone, it was definitely not ordinary. I have an immortal's essence blood here. A tribulation realm cultivator can fuse with 10 drops at once, but I can only fuse with 1 drop. Senior apprentice sister, this is an immortal's essence blood. With a flip of his hand, a strand of blood chi floated out of Su Fong's palm and flew towards Lan Haicheng. Where did you get the immortal's essence blood? Could it be from the immortal gate? Lan Haicheng was incomparably shocked when he saw the blood chi. My luck is pretty good. I happened to obtain a portion of the immortal's essence blood in the immortal gate. Senior apprentice sister, I've already injected yang qi into it and purified many impurities. With yang qi as the source, I can use my life force to fuse with the immortal's essence blood. Take advantage of the fact that the stone golem hasn't attacked, yet to quickly raise your strength to the peak. Thanks, but there's no time to lose. Lan Haicheng didn't think too much about it and couldn't delay any longer. He immediately extracted several drops of blood and absorbed them into his body. Su Fong also fused with 3 drops of blood. This was the true essence of an immortal after being refined. In an instant, the sound of something shattering came from his body. His 5th layer indestructible body was still unable to withstand the immortal's blood chi. At this moment, every part of his body was astonishingly broken. He continued to devour immortal fruits and other resources. Just as the two of them were recovering their strength, the stone golem began to move. It stepped on the roots below, causing the ground to shake. The space behind it was like a huge birdcage was floating. Unfortunately, a large hole had appeared. Tut, 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 the ground shook more and more violently. The surface layer of the rock under the stone golem's feet began to peel off, revealing a large amount of bluish-green roots. And these terrifying rocks began to squirm. Yes, it had come alive. Hiss! A large amount of bluish-green rock roots came alive. Some of them began to entangle the stone golem and fuse with it. It's been so many years, but I haven't used my true body even once. You two humans are really lucky to be able to witness this miraculous moment. The stone golem's body grew bigger and bigger. At first, it was only 10 meters tall. Now that it had absorbed the rock roots below, it grew to 15 meters. Too powerful. Lan Haicheng was fusing with the immortal's power. As a catastrophe realm expert, her perception was still better than Su Fong's. The stone golem's sudden change caused her expression to change once more. Before, we were only testing our strength against the stone golem. The more powerful it is, the more we have to persevere. Su Fong had a resolute gaze. I can't let my precious stone statue be destroyed in vain. I must get back at the stone golem several times over. Just like that, they were distracted for a moment. The stone golem was already 60 meters tall. There were many lotus totems on its body, especially its arms and legs. They were actually in the shape of lotus roots. It gave people the impression that this stone golem was formed from a lotus root essence. But it was also very strange. The stone golem was made of earth essence and contained stone essence energy. But why was its body made of lotus roots and filled with life energy? Was this still a stone golem? This isn't over, huh? The stone golem arrogantly grabbed at the black space behind it. That space actually shattered and a black stick flew out. It was at least 10 meters long. Chapter 402. The black club was also made of black stone, and its aura was exactly the same as the stone golem's. The stone golem grabbed the stone club, and with its 60-meter body, it was the absolute controller of this space. A large amount of black stone on the ground shattered. It seemed that all the stone energy had been absorbed by the stone golem. Apart from the altar behind the stone golem, the only thing left in this mysterious space was the stone golem's breathing. Damn, such a huge stone golem. If I had a few years, I would definitely be able to crush it with my own strength. Su Fong, who was absorbing the immortal's energy, was shocked by the stone golem. He wasn't afraid. In fact, he had the ability to defeat the stone golem. He could absorb the stone essence energy of the stone golem and turn it into a pile of rubble. The prerequisite was that he had to reach the same height as the stone golem to be able to absorb the powerful stone golem in front of him. Relying on the fifth layer of the Undying Realm, he couldn't absorb such a huge stone golem. This was already beyond the level he could control. The stone golem was a heaven-supporting object. Perhaps even Li Zuching, an exalted transcendent Yuezhan, would be killed by the stone golem. Even the Lord of Five Poisons would find it difficult to defeat such a terrifying stone golem, unless the Lord of Five Poisons recovered his peak strength. Under the power of an immortal, Su Fong felt his entire body was filled with power. He shouted in his heart, "In the end, I still have to fight to the death. This is my true body." The stone golem stepped out of the ground, causing rubble to fly everywhere. Its gaze was fixed on Su Fong. "I was formed from the essence stone of heaven and earth for hundreds of thousands of years. I was born with divine strength. In the end, I met Master and was transformed into a spirit. All the energy of Seven Stars Island can be absorbed and used by me. Master created Seven Stars Island with my origin. You, a human, dared to come here and be so impudent?" Whoosh! Lan Haicheng flashed in front of Su Fong and glanced at Su Fong. "Today, either way, you'll die." Calamity Realm cultivators were really different. Even in such a desperate situation, they were still decisive. Lan Haicheng activated the Jade Sky Cold Mysterious Art and merged it with the Great Firmament Sword Chi. In particular, a bracelet with astonishing cold energy flew out from her chest. The bracelet had many blue gems embedded in it. It emitted the aura of a high-grade magic item. It was an extraordinary magic item that had reached the peak of high grade, especially when combined with the Jade Sky Cold Mysterious Art. Lan Haicheng was able to display his true strength at this moment. "Senior apprentice sister, I still need to fuse with it for a while." Su Fong could only choose to have Blue Sea temporarily stall the stone golem. Hua Blue Ocean City flew into the air. Tut, tut, tut. The stone golem's gaze was like a flash flood. Many of the black rocks on the ground suddenly floated into the air. The stone golem cackled and waved the stone club in its hand. Pong, the stick hit a large amount of gravel. The stone golem's strength was too terrifying. After the club hit the rocks flew out like meteors. There were quite a few of them, and they covered the sky and covered the earth as they flew towards Blue Sea City. Pieces of gravel were about 3 feet large and as small as a fist. Every piece of gravel flew through the air, creating burning gaseous flames from the friction. From this, it could be seen how terrifying the strength of these crushed stones was. Origin Heavenly Sword Formation, Unbounded Cold. Lan Haicheng knew that he was fighting against the forces of nature. The bracelet rapidly spun, absorbing the surrounding sword energy of the Absolute Heaven Sword. It also emitted the cold energy of the Jade Sky Frost Art, instantly forming layers of countless ice swords in front of it. Fighting the stone golem impossible. The stone golem's divine power was boundless. Even Lan Haicheng's wouldn't be its match. His only choice was to defend. "It's coming." Lan Haicheng's black eyebrows seemed to follow the cold energy, turning into silver ice. Crack! Some of the gravel struck the ice layer, causing the ice swords and the barrier to lose most of their cold energy. As the gravel struck the barrier, it began to crack. A trace of blood trickled out of the corner of Lan Haicheng's mouth. His eyes widened. Buzz! More gravel struck the barrier. Even the bracelet in front of Lan Haicheng seemed unable to bear the pressure and was about to fly out. Boom! The ice barrier shattered, and a large amount of it shattered. As the fragments exploded, the gravel behind them continued to push forward, clanging against the bracelet. Now, it was a complete battle between the bracelet and the gravel. After a series of collisions, the bracelet released sparks. As for Lan Haicheng, He had lost a shocking amount of true energy. His face was pale and powerless as he was forced back. The bracelet continued to block the gravel's attacks, but its light was constantly fading. This round of gravel was finally blocked by the bracelet. The stone golem once more waved its stone club. The stone club transformed into a large saber in his hand. Holding the saber horizontally, a large amount of gravel flew around the stone golem. The stone golem used the back of the saber to sweep it away. Haha, this high-grade magic artifact of yours is not bad. It perfectly fuses with your cultivation technique. However, a high-grade magic artifact cannot stop me. Bang! Another large amount of gravel flew out. Nah! Lan Haicheng sent layers of seals into the bracelet. His weak body was about to be completely covered by the gravel. Bang! Bang! The gravel struck the bracelet in a large area. The bracelet's luster dimmed once more. After being hit by the gravel, its luster had completely disappeared. Its defense had also disappeared. Amidst the sparks, the bracelet began to shatter. The magic artifact was fused with Lan Haicheng's body and mind. When a magic artifact shattered, it was equivalent to her body being heavily injured. Taking a step back, Lan Haicheng spat out a mouthful of blood. His eyeballs were already in a tearing state. He painfully tried to grab the bracelet, but he could only watch as it completely shattered. This was the second high-grade magic artifact she had shattered. Furthermore, this magic artifact was clearly the magic artifact she wanted to cultivate into her life treasure. Therefore, even a king-grade magic artifact could not compare to it. However, after a large amount of gravel bombarded it, the magic artifact shattered just like that. Lan Haicheng could only watch helplessly as she shed tears of blood. Your high-grade magic artifact is nothing. Take a look at my magic artifact. The stone golem was disdainful. Then, the black stone saber in his hand suddenly emitted a dark golden luster and turned into a black bracelet. Furthermore, it was a black table that was 90% similar to Lan Haicheng's broken bracelet. The stone golem said arrogantly, "This is an earth-type spirit treasure refined by a part of my true body. It is roughly comparable to a king-grade magic artifact and a Dao-grade magic artifact. Just its hardness alone surpasses a king-grade magic artifact. It was refined by my master for 10,000 years. I call it the stone Rui because it does not have a specific shape. According to my will, it can transform into any shape. You don't believe that my stone Rui is so powerful, do you?" The stone golem already believed that it could easily suppress Su Fong and Lan Haicheng. Therefore, it did not feel threatened in the slightest. It began to use the stone Rui in front of the two of them. The stone Rui suddenly turned from a bracelet into a black stone sword. Then, it turned into a black throne. Finally, it transformed into a stone golem that looked exactly like the stone golem. The stone Rui. It was indeed an ordinary magic artifact. More importantly, this stone Rui was a natural earth-type spirit treasure. It was the same as the flaming cloud spirit gourd and the dragon subduing wood. It had unlimited possibilities in the future. Stone golem, do you know that I've taken a fancy to your stone Rui? Su Fong came to Lan Haicheng's side. She understood his feelings very well. She did not say anything and directly looked at the stone golem. "You have taken a fancy to my stone Rui. That's right. You destroyed my friend's Dharma treasure, and not just one. 2 Dharma treasures were destroyed in your hands. No matter what, you have to compensate me with something. I don't want anything else, but this Rui scepter in your hand can be considered a form of compensation for my friend. I'm taking it." What a joke, what a joke. Ignorant brat, you haven't even seen 1% of my power. I'm the controller of the 7-star Demon Islands. That means this world you're in, even the outer realms, is a part of my power. So what? If I say I want your stone Rui, then I must have it. The current Su Fong was a little overbearing and unreasonable. The stone golem suddenly transformed the stone Rui into a large black saber. A large amount of gravel floated around it. "Oof, look at my saber. I'll cut you in half." Su Fong then said to Lan Haicheng, "Senior apprentice sister, you're seriously injured. You can't fight anymore. Continue fusing with the immortal's energy to recover. Leave the rest to me. A lot of my meridians have been broken, and my golden core was almost shattered. I really don't have the strength to continue. Lan Haicheng helplessly shook her head and immediately retreated. For a second-layer Calamity Cultivator to be able to block 2 of the Stone Golem's attacks was already a miracle. Other Calamity Realm cultivators would only be able to do so. Senior apprentice sister. Su Fong suddenly turned around and looked at Lan Haicheng with a light smile. Su Fong, will definitely do what I say. I will definitely take back that Stone Golem Stone Rui and give it to you. Lan Haicheng's body trembled. It's not worth risking your life for me. It's not really a risk. Under normal circumstances, Junior Apprentice Brother wouldn't dare to make such a promise. But right now, the Stone Golem and I are mortal enemies. Since that's the case, that Stone Golem must die. I must take the Stone Rui from him. If I can leave this place alive, I will accept the Stone Rui. Lan Haicheng silently snorted. Brat, you still have a time to talk about love? He, let alone you, no cultivator in the mortal realm can obtain my Stone Rui. Only immortals can do that. Just watch how I kill you. Papa's Stone Golem waved the black blade in his hand. Whoosh whoosh chi chi, a large amount of gravel shook the air and flew out, leaving behind sparks in the air. Giant Diamond Body, Magic Treasure Rakshasa, Jade Bear Bottle, Xianhuang 6 Paths Pagoda, Flaming Cloud Spirit Gourd, Fire God Elephant, and Fire Crystal Golem were no match for the Stone Golem. But Su Fong still had other abilities. At this moment, it was as if a flesh armor appeared on Su Fong's body. It was called a flesh armor, but it wasn't. It was a layer of golden aura. Zzz, that the sound of bones breaking came from Su Fong's body. It was as if it was breathing. Then, boom, boom, boom. Su Fong's body actually began to expand under the golden light. It felt like a monster. As it expanded, the stone essence energy belonging to the Stone Golem also began to merge with the golden aura. Whoosh! Releasing the power of control, Su Fong lifted Lan Haicheng and flashed from the spot, dodging a large amount of gravel attacks. After landing, Su Fong secretly shouted, Giant Diamond Body. This was the first time Su Fong used the peerless divine power from the 9 Yang 9 changes. The Titan Palm and the indestructible golden body both came from the Giant Diamond Body. In an instant, Su Fong's body doubled and became a giant. His whole body was shining with golden light. It felt like a flesh armor, bringing about an astonishing transformation to Su Fong's body. Whoosh whoosh. The Stone Golem launched the second round of attacks, and a large amount of gravel rolled over. Su Fong held his breath. The stone essence energy in his hands turned into a black gold Xianguan. Titan Palm. It turned out that this was the fusion of the Giant Diamond Body and the stone essence energy. Bang! A huge black gold palm energy, pushed by Su Fong's giant form, moved overbearingly and swept toward a large amount of gravel. The two sides immediately collided. What was incredible was that the gravel could shatter a high-grade magic treasure, but at this moment, it couldn't instantly shatter the giant golden palm. But there were too many gravel, and the divine power was boundless. After most of the impact, some of the gravel behind also shattered the giant golden palm. Chapter 4:03. You're still a human. The Stone Golem trembled in shock. It actually saw that the giant Su Fong was able to contend against it. The Titan palm shattered and collapsed. As for Su Fong, his eyes were burning with golden flames. He walked step by step towards the Stone Golem. Today, either I die, or you die. Cut the crap and come at me. Do you think you can contend against me with this little trick? Raged the Stone Golem. Immortal fruit. Su Fong walked step by step towards the Stone Golem. Right now, he only wanted to defeat the Stone Golem. Because this was his first time using the giant Vajra body, his energy was instantly exhausted. It was the same for his 3 Yang meridians. Only the Violet Chi magic spirit was left. However, he couldn't possibly use up all the energy of the Violet Chi magic spirit. After all, it was a space where many magic treasures cultivated. Increasing his energy, there was only one way to do that, and that was to wantonly devour resources. Immortal fruit. Originally, he needed to absorb them bit by bit, but Su Fong directly ate one each. He couldn't care less about that. His life was more important. Not only did he devour the immortal fruit, he also absorbed a dozen drops of blood from the icebound king's corpse. Su Fong even began to swallow the majority of the immortal fruit he had obtained from the immortal gate. The giant Vajra body consumes too much energy. Adding on the Titan palm, even my 3 yang meridians aren't enough. Even in the giant Vajra body state, Su Fong could feel all kinds of energy going out of control in his body. They were crazily destroying his body, but at the same time, they also brought him energy. Furthermore, he also used his yin and yang energy to absorb this space. The stone essence energy in the air was astonishing, as well as the life energy from the Black Lotus. He did his best to let his body absorb energy every second and every minute. Who told him to use the giant Vajra body state? A deity tier cultivation technique required a lot of energy. He felt like a monster that could swallow the power of a tribulation realm expert. Pow! Pow! Another large amount of rocks flew over. At the same time, the stone golem walked over. Herculean palm with a shout in his heart. His huge body began to move. He took a step forward and pushed his palms forward. A Titan palm condensed and shot out. Chi! Su Fong, who had just used the Titan palm, didn't even have time to breathe. He used the flame cloud steps and the Titan palm, taking advantage of the rocks and the Titan palm. Heaven-worshipping palm technique. Su Fong swooped down from the air, pouncing on the stone monster, and struck out with the heaven-worshipping palm art in midair. That won't be able to injure me. Let me show you how tough I am. Inconceivably, the stone golem didn't dodge at all. Its 200-foot-tall stone body was struck by the heaven-worshipping palm technique in a flash. Peng Peng Su Fong's attack could kill any young soul cultivator. After all, he was only at the 5th stage of the indestructible realm. If he could kill a young infant realm cultivator and shake a catastrophe realm cultivator, he might not be able to shake a catastrophe realm cultivator. 10 years. Lan Haicheng stood at the rear, watching the gigantic Su Fong from afar. He was like a peerless god of war, surpassing him and fighting the stone golems head-on. When he challenged Prince Shui in 10 years, everyone in the Celestial Sealing School laughed at him. They said he was dreaming. No one could possibly defeat Prince Shui in 10 years. But his current strength, coupled with his inconceivable cultivation technique, allowed him to surpass the catastrophe realm. It hasn't even been 10 years, and he already has such strength. What about a few years later? So he was confident that he dared to challenge Prince Shui. Such spirit and courage has never appeared in the history of the Celestial Sealing School. What Prince Shui, Sheng Chang Sheng, they couldn't even compare to him in the slightest. Suddenly, the powerless Lan Haicheng was on the verge of life and death. It didn't seem serious, but it was impossible to estimate the extent of her injuries. Her meridians and golden core were both heavily injured. But at this moment, she didn't care about herself. Instead, she suddenly realized that Su Fong was a brilliant, indestructible disciple. Ha! The heaven-worshipping palm art's attack disappeared. The stone golem wasn't affected at all. Su Fong's giant Vajra body and many other abilities couldn't injure the stone golem at all. Was this the difference? Su Fong fiercely asked himself this in his heart. He used the flame cloud steps to quickly dodge. This kid actually has the guts to threaten me. This won't do. If this continues, I won't feel at ease. The palm force disappeared, and the stone golem suddenly waved its black blade. Kid, you've been impudent for so long. I won't give you any more chances. Su Fong floated in the air. I'll say it again. If you have the ability, then take it out. Go! The stone golem flipped its huge palm, and in the surrounding space, an astonishing amount of stone essence chi surged out, as well as a power that seemed to be all of nature. It seemed to have completely absorbed the power of nature into its body. Junior brother, be careful. The stone golem is already controlling this space. As a catastrophe realm cultivator, Lan Haicheng could still see through the stone golem's methods. However, at the same time, the stone golem also shouted the word go. Following that, the surrounding stone, essence, chi, and the power of nature turned into a black circle. It was still like a black rock. Su Fong was still thinking of a way to resist, but this time he had truly ignored the strength of the stone golem. Could it be that the stone golem, as the master and controller of this place, only had this much strength? If it released the rock, it would only show how strong its body was. Wrong. The black stone circle, when Su Fong began to breathe in shock, directly disappeared into the air. Bang! Then, the black stone circle, with lightning speed, appeared around Su Fong's body. The black light instantly condensed, and the black stone circle wrapped around Su Fong's waist. When it wrapped around his body, the enormous power it brought was at least at the level of a royal-grade magic artifact. Therefore, in an instant, Su Fong's body in the circle violently shook. He couldn't help but cry out in pain, as if his heart and lungs were being torn apart. The enormous power of the black stone circle first heavily injured Su Fong's body, and then shattered Su Fong's giant diamond body. It made Su Fong's body, which was nearly 6 meters tall, start to return to normal. As for Su Fong, all of his aura disappeared because it was scattered by the black stone circle. The stone golem finally laughed loudly. Ignorant child, even an immortal who is about to ascend would be shackled to death by this attack. You, an indestructible realm cultivator, being able to survive is already a miracle. You're really lucky. Junior brother, a beautiful figure hurriedly flew towards Su Fong. Senior sister, Su Fong, who was in pain, had the black stone circle wrapped around his waist. All of his aura had disappeared, especially his physical body. Su Fong's skin, face, and even his pupils were all in a bloody and tearing state. He shook his head, but he was powerless to stop Lan Haicheng from approaching. But Lan Haicheng had already arrived at his side, bleeding tears. She struck the black stone circle with her palm, but unfortunately, with a bang, her power was scattered. She grabbed the black stone circle with all her might, wanting to use her hands to pull the stone circle out of Su Fong's body. Unfortunately, no matter how much strength she used, no matter how much pain she cried out, it was useless. She was unable to shake the black stone circle in the slightest. But she still didn't give up. She touched her bloody tears and tried again. Senior sister, don't waste your strength for nothing. Su Fong's hands were also shackled by the stone circle, unable to form any seals. Fortunately, he was in control of his own consciousness. He ignored the pain and smiled. In truth, I, Su Fong, am not someone who doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. If Prince Shui wants to kill me, do you think I can only kneel down and kowtow out to him to live? Perhaps everyone would choose to submit to Prince Shui in the face of life and death, but I, Su Fong, will not. I will persist with my Tao heart. Even if I know that Xinjia Gate is a forbidden area, a grave for cultivators, I will still go. After saying this, the black stone circle's shackles increased in strength. The pressure caused Su Fong's bones to crackle and shatter. It wanted to crush Su Fong into meat paste. You can't die. If you die, what will I do? Do you want me to deal with the stone golem alone? Lan Haicheng finally couldn't hold on any longer. She broke down and began to cry. This was clearly not the emotion a Calamity Realm powerhouse should have. But even geniuses like Prince Shui and Huang Lingyao would release the side that was suppressed in the depths of their hearts in the face of Lan Haicheng's desperate situation. Her appearance made Su Fong speechless for a moment. She hurriedly said, "I'm not dead. Senior sister, don't cry. I'm still thinking of a way. You're crying nonstop. I'm thinking of how to comfort you, how to make you stop crying. Don't distract me. Is there a way?" Lan Haicheng grasped at a life-saving straw. Su Fong nodded. "There should be. Senior sister, quickly retreat and stay away from me. Don't lie to me. If you say you'll live, then you must live." No matter how much Lan Haicheng lost herself, she was still a Calamity realm powerhouse. She hurriedly retreated. The stone golem was just a few dozen feet away from Su Fong. It sneered, "You humans are just like this. I see that the two of you are quite compatible. Brat, let me first fulfill your wish today. After you're happy, I'll kill you. That way, you'll also become a happy ghost. Even if you die, you won't blame me too much, haha. Thank you for your good intentions. But whether I die or not isn't up to you to decide." Su Fong was actually able to keep her composure. The stone golem suddenly looked at Lan Haiqin. "Hey, little girl, this guy is protecting you like this, but you're not going to do anything. Don't you humans always know how to repay kindness? If it were most women in this situation, they would definitely fulfill the other party's wish. Are you just going to watch this brat die with resentment?" Unexpectedly, Lan Haiqin was very decisive. "If help requires repayment, then I'd rather not have any help at all. Then that's a pity. This brat is going to die. When he dies, he'll still be a little virgin. He hasn't even tasted a woman. Is that right, brat?" The stone golem waved its arms, causing cracking sounds to ring out. At the same time, the black stone ring around Su Fong began to tremble violently. With each tremble, Su Fong's fleshly body was locked down, and the sound of something shattering could be heard clearly. Before long, Su Fong's fleshly body would be reduced to a pile of mush. Ugh! Lan Haiqing hastily covered her mouth with her hand. Although she didn't want to cry, tears of blood still flowed out. "My life is mine to control. Even if I have to die, I won't die at the hands of others." Su Fong could already sense that the black stone ring would cut him in half at the waist. At this moment, Su Fong focused on the primeval chaos sage in the depths of his body. Only the primeval chaos sage could save him. He couldn't use any other magical treasures or energy arts to resist the stone golem's power. The primeval chaos sage was still lying quietly in the depths of Su Fong's fleshly body. Pure yang energy and frigid energy flowed out of it. Su Fong's will transformed into divine might that wrapped around the primeval chaos sage. Although it was somewhat powerless, it began to seep into the primeval chaos sage. Chi, the primeval chaos sage, suddenly moved. This was also the first time it moved under the full power of Su Fong's will. A fiery aura suddenly surged out of the mirror. It seemed insignificant. However, it was as if Su Fong felt an unimaginable divine might spreading out from the depths of his fleshly body. Just as his body was about to be crushed by the black stone ring, this divine might felt like a gust of wind that rushed out of Su Fong's body and caused his body to explode. Chapter 404. When the supreme divine power from the primordial chaos saint swept through Su Fong's body, it was as if it was bringing destruction. Su Fong felt that he had lost contact with his physical body again, and his divine orifices were about to explode. It showed that Su Fong was too weak. He couldn't even withstand the power of an origin saint. Looking from the outside, Su Fong was about to be crushed by the black stone circle. But at this moment, a golden light with blood chi spurted out of Su Fong's body and burned his skin. What kind of power is this? Even the stone golem, who was only a few dozen feet away, was trembling with its black stone eyes. Because it was the origin of space, it naturally knew how terrifying Su Fong's aura was. It immediately spurted out a powerful aura, and countless rocks around it began to float. It seemed to want to stop the power in Su Fong's body. It wanted to strangle it in his body. Crack! But the aura that rushed out had already forcefully shattered the black stone circle around Su Fong's body. Kill! The stone monster controlled countless rocks and separated them. The remaining rock essence merged and turned into a stone circle again. This time was twice as big as before and pressed down on Su Fong. Boom! The stone circle around Su Fong finally shattered under the aura, and Su Fong knelt down on one knee at the same time. The new black stone circle above also came down at this moment. Su Fong had just regained his freedom. He couldn't focus his consciousness and body, but the aura seemed to have a mind of its own. It directly shattered the black stone circle and turned it into powder. Then, The aura rushed toward the stone monster. The aura shot out in all directions. Fortunately, Lan Haicheng was far away. Otherwise, he would have been killed by the aura. I don't believe that I can't kill an indestructible cultivator like you. It destroyed 2 of the stone monster's black stone circles. It completely stimulated the stone monster's battle consciousness. As the aura shot out, it also moved its arms. The space was distorted and turned into a distorted oppressive force that pressed down on the aura. What a terrifying power! The stone golem displayed its true strength, which was its own strength. After fusing with the shackles of this mysterious space, it transformed into a peerless strength that could absolutely suppress any cultivator in the mortal world. Layers upon layers of distortions were space, just like liquid black stone water. Could this be enough to withstand the aura released by a primordial chaos saint? Can strangle the power. Subai still did not hit the intent. The aura attack, range, and speed all came from the divine might of a primordial chaos sage. Boom, boom, boom. The aura and the distorted space finally clashed. The entire black vortex, which was hundreds of feet long, seemed to be sucking in the aura and then suppressing it. Especially the stone monster that controlled the power of space, it was like a giant. Its hand suppressed the power of space distortion, wanting to crush Su Fong into meat paste. And at this moment, the power of space distortion that was blocking the spewing of the aura was directly blasted away by the aura. The distorted space was torn apart, and in an instant, it was like a stone slab that began to shatter bit by bit. I will not lose. Furthermore, when the distorted space shattered, the aura inside was like an explosive red light that rushed towards the stone monster. The stone monster had a sturdy body made of stone. It waved its arms and grabbed at the incoming aura. Its gigantic body was enough to shatter the aura. Tut tut tut. Just as its palms touched the aura, they shattered under the aura and were obliterated by it. First, they shattered and then turned into powder. No, Master, save me. The stone monster finally knew how terrifying the indestructible cultivator in front of it was. It saw its arms turn into powder with its own eyes. It turned to look at the altar. It shouted anxiously, and the aura hit the stone monster's back again. With a rumble, the stone monster's gigantic body collapsed like a small mountain, and before the gravel fell to the ground, it turned into powder under the aura. A stone spirit that had been formed for hundreds of thousands of years was shattered just like that. Su Fong still could not move, but he felt the threat and the spatial shackles disappear. He looked up with difficulty and immediately shook his head in surprise. What a pity, what a pity. I don't want to kill you. If I shackle you, I can control an extremely powerful Dharma treasure. It was already certain that a primordial chaos saint could kill a stone monster. No matter how powerful the stone monster was, how could it resist a primordial chaos saint? Even if its master was here, he would be turned into powder in an instant. At first, he had planned to suppress the stone monster and even fuse it with the 13 fire crystal golems to become an even more powerful force. He could use the 8 Origins Soul Elephant formation with boundless power, but he could not control a primordial chaos saint. He could only watch as the stone monster was mercilessly crushed. The aura also dissipated. Lan Haicheng immediately flew over. It seemed that he had absorbed the immortal's blood essence during this time and had recovered from his injuries. Junior apprentice brother, you succeeded. Lan Haicheng excitedly supported Su Fong. Yes, I destroyed the stone monster. There's finally some hope of leaving this place. Su Fong was also relieved, but when he thought of the altar and the terrifying space around it, it was still too early to talk about leaving. He could only be sure of one thing. At least for now, he was safe. Su Fong went to the side and sat down. I need some time to recover. Senior apprentice sister, don't leave so casually. There's still a terrifying life aura in front of the altar. Maybe there's something strange. Once I recover, we'll go check it out. Lan Haicheng nodded. I'll stay by your side and protect you. Besides, I don't have the guts like you to charge into such a forbidden area. Senior apprentice sister, I need your help. Right now, I can't sense my body and I've lost control. My divine orifices are also affected. I only have a portion of my magic power left. It's just enough for me to take out resources from my bag. I'll have to trouble senior apprentice sister to feed them to me. All right. Whoosh. A large amount of pure essence pills, marrow cleansing pills, and yang strengthening pills poured in. Su Fong didn't even have the strength to open his mouth. Fortunately, Lan Haiqing used his hand to gently feed Su Fong the pills. Seeing Su Fong directly swallow so many pills at such a close distance shocked Lan Haiqing. It was at least 10 times the amount of pills an ordinary imperishable realm cultivator could swallow. Another immortal fruit appeared. Su Fong said weakly, "You have to use your true qi to first cut the immortal fruit into small pieces and then cut a hole in my body. Then you have to feed the pieces into my wound." This, Lan Haiqing was startled. Only then did he remember Su Fong cutting open his body. Just thinking about it made him panic. Furthermore, he could see that there were quite a few scars on his newly formed skin. Although they were very shallow, he could still see them clearly at such a close distance. It could be seen how many times Su Fong had cultivated in such a cruel way. Seeing Su Fong waiting with a heart full of anticipation, Lan Haiqing finally controlled her true qi with tears in her eyes and slowly approached Su Fong's skin. As soon as her true qi touched his skin, she couldn't help but tear up like pearls from her eyes. It was like cutting open a bloody wound on her body. Other than her crying, Su Fong closed his eyes and pretended he didn't notice anything. In truth, his own heart was also touched. How many times had he faced desperate situations, and how many times had he forced himself to endure? But in truth, there was another side to his heart. One side wanted to be free, and the other side wanted to walk out of the path of endless reincarnation. Everyone had choices. Cultivators naturally also had choices. For example, in the small territory of Zhao, those cultivators couldn't even condense a gold core. Therefore, they didn't need to take risks in the bigger world. Therefore, they lived for thousands of years. Compared to mortals, they were indeed like immortals, free and unfettered. But for cultivators in the big world, once they chose to cultivate, most of them would persevere step by step, not to mention cultivators like Su Fong, who were determined to walk to the other side of the sea of bitterness. Lan Haiqing didn't know how many tears she shed as she implanted the slices of immortal fruit into his wound. Every time, she trembled as if she felt the same as Su Fong. Before coming to Seven Stars Demon Island, she didn't know Su Fong at all. In the end, in the short span of a few days, every minute and every second felt like an eternity with Su Fong. She was smart and had a comprehensive understanding of Su Fong. He was like a close friend, but also like an old friend. Lan Haiqing implanted the last slices of immortal fruit into his wound. Suddenly, she saw his left wrist. "There are 3 scars on your wrist. There's a story behind them, right?" There were 3 scars. She didn't expect that, even after the dragon taming would fused with her body and transformed in her left arm, she still couldn't make the 3 scars disappear. "When I was still immortal, I swore a blood oath to become a powerhouse for the sake of cultivation and for the sake of my family." Su Fong naturally wouldn't forget the scene of her leaving 3 bloody scars on her hand outside Tianzong City. Lan Haiqing wiped away her tears. Your family will definitely be proud of you." "Haha, thank you, senior apprentice sister. I'm much better now. My body has energy and is beginning to recover." At this moment, Su Fong focused her gaze on the large amount of black gravel in front of her. She used her magic power. An illusion cloud rope flew out from her empty bag and floated above the gravel. Buzz! The illusion cloud rope flashed into the gravel and wrapped around a black lotus. It quickly flew back. Lan Haiqing was curious. The black lotus floated in front of Lan Haiqing. This should be the stone golem's magical treasure, the stone Rui. It's just that it's shaped like a black lotus. Fortunately, it's not damaged. Senior apprentice sister, because of me, you lost 2 magical treasures. I hope this stone Rui can accompany Senior Apprentice Sister as you reach the Great Tao step by step. Lan Haicheng's eyes trembled. This stone Rui is a peerless magical treasure. No king-grade magical treasure can compare to it. It's so important. Even the immortal sealing sect wouldn't be able to take out such a treasure. Its value, its importance, it's something all cultivators yearn for even in their dreams. Su Fong naturally understood what she was implying. Don't tell me you want me to give it to Senior Apprentice Sister in this state. It's just a magical treasure. Furthermore, this black lotus is so beautiful. Only Senior Apprentice Sister is worthy of it. Then Lan Haicheng immediately grabbed the black lotus. Her attention was immediately drawn to the stone Rui. A black lotus was a peerless earth-type spiritual treasure. Senior Apprentice Sister, it won't be easy for you to fuse with the stone Rui. In a bit, I'll release some of the stone golem stone essence chi to help you refine it. I'm not in a rush. I'll take this opportunity to carefully examine this precious treasure. It's too miraculous. Not only is it an earth-type spiritual treasure, but it's also made by a peerless expert. It can transform into any form. Senior Apprentice Sister, in the future, you should try to refine it into a life-bound magical treasure. From ancient texts, I learned that the most suitable life-bound magical treasures are natural spiritual treasures like this. Once it becomes a life-bound magical treasure, its power will be limitless. It will also have many wondrous abilities. Actually, it'll be easier for you to fuse with the stone Rui than for me. With its abilities, you might be able to defeat Prince Shui in a few years. Hee, I have my own plans. Furthermore, I have many magical treasures. I don't lack this one. All right, I'll take it. Thank you. Lan Haicheng absorbed the stone Rui into his body. During this time, Su Fong had recovered quite a bit of color. His body was no longer in a torn state. However, it would still take some time for him to fully recover. Most importantly, he was unable to control his body. If he could use the 9 Yang 9 transformations while cultivating, his recovery speed would be terrifying. Chapter 405. Inside the mysterious space, Lan Haicheng sat cross-legged beside Su Fong. He didn't look around, waiting for Su Fong to recover quickly. Getting better? Easier said than done. This was the first time he had used the greater gigantification of the Vajra body. Could a godly class energy art be used by an undying cultivator? Of course not. Although the Titan Palm and the undying Vajra body were also godly class techniques, they were derived from the greater gigantification of the Vajra body. Furthermore, Su Fong could use a portion of them without the need for a gigantified fleshly body. The greater gigantification of the Vajra body was different. Once it was used, the undying Vajra body would grow even larger. At the same time, it would increase one's strength dramatically. If one couldn't control the greater gigantification of the Vajra body and didn't have a fleshly body capable of supporting it, then the result of using this divine ability would be an enormous amount of strength. In the process, the destruction of the fleshly body would be indescribable. It was just like when Li Ziqing had created the marrow cleansing altar. When the power of the marrow cleansing altar entered Su Fong's body, he couldn't bear it. The greater gigantification of the Vajra body was even more powerful than the great marrow cleansing spell formation. The process of gigantification would cause one's meridians and bones to grow larger. Then it would completely shatter. His body seemed to be in perfect condition, but the insides of his body had long since been torn apart. Furthermore, Su Fong had been suppressed by the stone golem's black stone circle for a period of time. Both sides had damaged his fleshly body, and his body was basically dead. His dantian had almost been destroyed, and so had his divine aperture. Fortunately, on the verge of death, Su Fong had the power of pure yang and yin and yang to restore his life force. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to hold on for so long. Creak. He began to move his joints, stretching out his arms. He could hear his bones grinding and expanding. Finally, he had recovered a bit, and was able to control his fleshly body. He immediately used the 9 Yang 9 transformations to stimulate the power of Yang and Yin and Yang. He directly consumed an immortal fruit and various medicinal pills. Although the stone golem is dead, there is still plenty of stone essence energy in this dimension. I can use it to restore my 3 Yang meridians and the energy in my dantian. Apart from the purple Chi Dharma spirit, there was no excess energy anywhere else in his body. His entire body was in an empty state. Under the activation of the 9 Yang 9 transformations, all the energy in his body, with the power of Yang as the center, soon exploded with the power of Yin and Yang, fusing all the energy in his body. Furthermore, the stone essence Qi absorbed by the Su Fang directly fused with the power of Yin and Yang. In this way, any energy could be fused with the Su Fang. Then, he continued to cut open countless wounds on his body. He quickly used the time to implant the slices of immortal fruits and some special spiritual items into the wounds. On the side, Lan Haicheng heard the commotion and saw that Su Fang's body was covered with wounds. He was still extremely shocked and sighed in his heart. If cultivators were not afraid of any pain, would they still be afraid of the thorns of the heavenly Tao? Finally, Su Fang absorbed the Frost King's power. The celestial power could allow him to recover in a short period of time. As for the precipitated matter, he could slowly refine it in the future. Several drops of blood essence fused into Su Fang's body. Blood energy began to boil within him. With the power of Yin and Yang fusing together with his perfect mortal body, Su Fang began to restore himself to his normal state at a terrifying speed. Little brother, it's all my fault. I almost took your life. Within the profound yellow space, Bai Ling was sitting cross-legged and absorbing energy. She was in the middle of cultivating. She had clearly seen everything that Su Fang had experienced. She blamed herself endlessly and was unable to calm down for a long time. But Su Fang had to persuade Bai Ling several times to let go of her worries. Roughly 3 days later, after moving his body, the sound of energy surging came from his body. When Su Fang opened his eyes, he had recovered his domineering gaze. He took advantage of this opportunity to use the power of Yin and Yang in his body to speed up the absorption of the mysterious space's energy, especially the stone essence Qi and the wonderful life energy. The best way to perfectly recover was to break through. He had to break through to the indestructible 5th stage and attack the indestructible 6th stage. He had to use the power of his advancement to once again perfectly recover his physical body. Only then could he reach the peak. Although he desperately wanted to leave this strange space a step earlier, without strength, how could he do that? Only by preparing everything would he have the confidence and possibility. Breaking through to the indestructible 6th stage wasn't easy, especially after his body had been seriously injured. Therefore, Su Fang didn't care about anything else. He didn't worry about resources at all. He took high-level marrow, cleansing pills, pure essence pills, and all kinds of spiritual items. For example, the undying flower. He swallowed as much as he could. The amount of resources Su Fang swallowed was terrifying. His cultivation alone was comparable to dozens of people. The pills he took alone were comparable to those of the Calamity Realm. The Dragon Taming Wood's left arm was a great help this time. Because of its constant supply of life, energy, and pure Yang energy, I was able to persevere until the last moment. Naturally, this treasure is truly extraordinary. After a period of time, when he examined his physical body, he was immediately attracted to his left arm. The dragon taming wood had also been seriously injured before. Fortunately, it was a wood attribute spirit treasure. Its greatest ability was to recover life energy. So as long as it didn't encounter any destructive power, the dragon taming would be fine. His dantian and 3 Yang meridians also stored a certain amount of energy. After Su Fang absorbed all kinds of essence from that strange space, his energy became more and more abundant. Su Fang was also in a state comparable to enlightenment. With all kinds of precious resources, immortal blood essence, immortal fruits, perfect abilities, 9 yang 9 transformations, and the dragon-taming wood, it was impossible for him not to become powerful. 100-point finger technique. After a full 3 days, the nearly crazy Su Fong used the 100-point finger technique on his body to seal a large number of his meridians. Then he attacked his physical body, pushing his strength to the peak of his physical body. After a while, the moment the seal was undone, a burst of energy and tribulation energy exploded from Su Fong's body. He broke through to the indestructible 6th stage again. Lan Haicheng was awakened by this breakthrough. When he saw that Su Fong's energy had reached the 6th stage, he couldn't help but exclaim. He couldn't help but shiver. How many days had it been? He actually broke through from the indestructible 1st stage to the indestructible 6th stage. If this continued, could it be that Su Fong still couldn't reach the young infant stage in the next few years? If the indestructible stage was already so terrifying, then what about the young infant stage? He couldn't believe it. This was the only thing Lan Haicheng was sure of. Su Fong guided the power of the breakthrough. After swallowing an immortal fruit and fusing with a few drops of immortal blood essence, the power of the breakthrough rushed through his body and finally reached his divine aperture. Every minute and second, Su Fong's physical body was shattering and transforming. From the 5th stage physique, he was promoted to the perfect 6th stage physique. This meant that Su Fong's injuries had completely healed and he had reached a new height. His overall strength was even stronger than before. At this moment, the purple Qi Law spirit was also being attacked. Xianhuang's 6 Paths Pagoda suddenly said, "Master, why don't you let Xianhuang use the power of the 67 minor commanders? Against an enemy like the stone monsters, even if we use the minor commanders, we won't be their match in the end. Moreover, we only have a few years. If we consume the minor commander's power now, they can recover in a few years." Su Fong calmly replied, "Is Prince Shui more powerful than the stone monsters? Impossible. Therefore, it won't be too late to use the minor commander's power in the battle with Prince Shui at the Celestial Sealing Gate. Any ability can only be used in a suitable place to display its proper power." Another peerless magic treasure in the space, Rakshasa Yu Qingping, was unconvinced. "Master, you can let Rakshasa attack. Rakshasa has the 5 poisons true Qi. The stone monsters are natural spirits. They aren't afraid of the 5 poisons true Qi. Moreover, the stone monsters are already taller than you. If you attack, won't you eventually shatter? Don't worry, fuse with my power and the purple Qi Law spirit. This time, you've all helped a lot." Su Fong was sure of the importance of these 2 magic treasures. Being able to defeat the stone monsters wasn't just because of Su Fong. There were many comprehensive factors, such as Lan Haicheng and magic treasures. Also, there were various abilities that were finally finished by a primordial chaos saint. But without his previous efforts and perseverance, Su Fong might have died in the hands of the stone monsters before the primordial chaos saint could use his divine power. After advancing to the 6th level of the indestructible realm, my physical body has undergone another transformation. My perception has greatly improved. As long as my strength reaches a certain level, I can approach the altar and find a way to leave the space. He glanced at the altar in front of him. There was still a terrifying aura there. After defeating the stone monsters, he had to defeat the aura of the altar before he could leave. Su Fong thought of something. He immediately condensed runes and fused his yang power with the surrounding stone essence Qi. It turned into a Xian Guang and slowly floated towards Lan Haicheng. The latter called out a bracelet. It was exactly the same as the broken high-grade bracelet from before, but the color was very different. It was a jet-black bracelet, stone rui. It was refined by a peerless expert with the special essence of the stone monsters. It surpassed the Rakshasa Yu Qingping and was almost at the same level as the Xianhuang's 6 Paths Pagoda. It was a natural spirit treasure. "Thank you, junior brother." Lan Haicheng grabbed the runes and immediately condensed several drops of his blood. He smashed the runes and let the blood and power fuse. After the fusion, He rapped the stone rui. Buzz, buzz. The stone rui was actually buzzing. Almost at the same time, the two heard some buzzing coming for the altar. Under this strange movement, the stone rui actually didn't absorb yang power or Lan Haicheng's blood qi. It was rejecting Lan Haicheng's divine power. What's going on? Su Fong didn't understand. Lan Haicheng said, I feel the same aura as the stone rui from the ancient altar, especially a will that is still fused with the stone rui. It should be a part of the stone monster's will left in the altar. It means the stone monster isn't dead, so the stone rui naturally won't fuse with me. It still has a master. It's not dead. Of course, there might be another reason. Most of the space is filled with the stone monster's aura. The stone rui thought the stone monster wasn't dead and felt its aura, so it refused to fuse with me. Is that so? If that's the case, then wouldn't it be very difficult to fuse with the stone rui? There's only one way, and that is to leave this space. Only without the stone monster's aura will the stone rui be ownerless. At that time, we should be able to fuse with it, but it'll take a lot of effort. That hateful stone monster, if its will and power still exists in the altar, then this time I'll completely obliterate it. We have to be even more careful. If the stone monster's will is still in the altar, why isn't it continuing to attack? Perhaps there's some terrifying scheme waiting for us. Since we're already here, let's take things as they come. We've already defeated the stone monster, so why should we be afraid of a single altar? Even if there's something even more terrifying than the stone monster, it won't stop us from leaving this place. Senior apprentice sister, get ready. We're going to get close to the altar and see what's going on. Su Fong frowned, her tone resolute. Lan Haicheng absorbed the stone rui into his body and then cautiously nodded to Su Fong. After a while, Su Fong also stood up. Lan Haicheng's condition wasn't as good as Su Fong's. Although she had been recovering during this time, she wasn't like Su Fong, who could absorb all kinds of resources without restraint. She could only recover step by step. Su Fong adjusted her condition and secretly activated the Rakshasa Jade Inheritance Bottle, as well as the Primal Chaos Holy Mirror. That was because the altar in front of them definitely contained some kind of peerless power. It was something neither she nor Lan Haicheng could contend against. Only by using magical treasures, especially the Primal Chaos Holy Mirror, could they avoid any danger. Chapter 406. Su Fong and Lan Haicheng were trembling with fear every step they took. First, they were trapped in a space. Then, they encountered an undefeatable stone golem and fought it to the death. Now, the spell Altar must have an even more terrifying power. About 10 feet away, the two stepped on the gravel and used their senses to sense the spell Altar and everything in the surrounding space. The closer they got to the spell Altar, the more they felt the astonishing life aura and the stone golem's stone essence aura. It seemed that part of the spell Altar was also made of stone from the stone golem. Buzz! There were still 5 feet to go. There was a sudden movement around the spell Altar. A black spiritual light suddenly spread around the spell Altar, causing the spell Altar to be in a distorted state. Some of the black lotuses seemed to follow the spiritual light, but in the end, they revealed human faces. Seeing the human faces, Su Fong and Lan Haicheng were not unfamiliar at all. They were the stone golem's faces. The human faces said in a sinister voice, "You killed my true body and still dare to approach the spell Altar. Even if you have 10,000 lives, it won't be enough." Although Su Fong was nervous, he was very calm. "I didn't expect you to still be alive. However, in a while, I will completely erase your consciousness. Do you think you can stop me with this little formation?" The stone golem sneered disdainfully. "Ignorant child." Su Fong and Lan Haicheng walked side by side. After another 10 feet, they would come into contact with the distorted formation outside the spell Altar. Whoosh! The moment their feet touched the ground, the two were still sensing when a sword light shot out from the distorted formation of the spell Altar. It charged directly at the two of them at an incomparably fast speed. Origin, sacred mirror. Su Fong slapped out. It really had a peerless power. A mirror appeared in his left hand. Although it wasn't the true, primordious, holy mirror, it was still hidden beneath his skin. As Lan Haiqing's beautiful face paled in fright, Su Fong struck out with a palm. Since it was the power to protect, the spell alter. In that case, this flying sword would definitely shock the world. Bang! A black flying sword hit Su Fong's left palm. The huge impact shook everything around Su Fong. Lan Haiqing did not have time to grab Su Fong before he was knocked back by the momentum. It seemed that he had suffered another heavy blow. Su Fong's body was fine. It was just that his body was shaken by the divine might of the flying sword's attack, as well as the impact of the Gang Qi. He was unable to control his body. He glanced behind him. Fortunately, Lan Haiqing's life wasn't in danger, but after landing, he was already dispirited and in a state of unconsciousness. The mirror in the palm of his left hand forcefully blocked the black flying sword in midair. Su Fong was contending with the flying sword. The Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda appeared in his divine aperture. Master, this is an artifact that has reached the peak of the king grade. It is similar to the Xianhuang artifact. Upon closer inspection, it was indeed a black flying sword imprinted with black refinement. Judging from the flying sword's aura, it was a royal grade celestial artifact. Now that it was in attack mode, its aura surpassed that of the Rakshasa Jade Vase. It was indeed similar to the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda. What a terrifying treasure. This kind of treasure was an invincible existence in the mortal realm. The Rakshasa Jade Vase also said, even the Wuzhen artifact of the Lord of Five Poisons, the Heavenly King Cauldron, can't be compared with this flying sword in terms of quality. The master here is indeed a peerless expert, even more powerful than the Lord of Five Poisons. So what if he is a peerless expert? Can't he kill me? Su Fong stared at the black flying sword. He definitely could not let it pass by even half a step. Master, the Xianhuang original spirit's voice suddenly became excited. In this flying sword, I can sense a very subtle world essence power. What do you mean? That is to say, this treasure is similar to the human emperor's bright wheel. It is a peerless flying sword that has absorbed the essence of the Wu-Tan realm. It has the world aura of the Wu-Tan realm. In this Wu-Tan realm, it can instantly kill the experts of another realm. It can't compare to the human emperor's bright wheel. Naturally, it can't compare to the human emperor's bright wheel. The human emperor's bright wheel is a world treasure refined by the realm master of the human emperor realm. In fact, the Xianhuang original spirit is also a treasure formed from the essence of the world. But this flying sword's cultivation is invincible. It can actually condense the essence of the Wu-Tan realm. Some of the world's essence is used to cleanse the flying sword spirit. That's why this flying sword is so extraordinary. Buzz buzz. In an instant, the black flying sword's aura and sword light became even more dazzling. It felt like it was absorbing the power of space. The sword tip pressed down on the ancient mirror bit by bit, forcing Su Fong back little by little. Master, let the Rakshasa come. Although it can't compare to this flying sword, it can still resist for a while. It can't destroy me in a short time. The Rakshasa Jade Vase volunteered. No, if you can't destroy it, then it doesn't have much meaning. Instead, I'm worried that it will injure you. If it wants to kill me, then I'll use my deity realm true body. I want to see if this flying sword can be so presumptuous in front of a divine artifact. Su Fong was about to use the primeval origin sacred mirror again. Furthermore, this was the first time the primeval chaos sacred mirror had directly clashed with a magic treasure. Squeak, squeak. His arm shook and a mirror came out of his palm, forming the primeval origin sacred mirror. Bang, bang. The black flying sword sped up again, and its aura doubled. Such an aura was enough to kill exalted cultivator Yuezhen and Li Ziqing. Crack! The tip of the black flying sword pressed against the surface of the ancient mirror. A second ago, the flying sword was releasing a terrifying sword chi, trying to break the primeval origin sacred mirror. But unexpectedly, the primeval origin sacred mirror didn't release any energy. It shattered the tip of the flying sword inch by inch, as if it was normal. It turned into a cloud of sword chi in the blink of an eye. A Dharma treasure that had reached the peak of a small world instantly turned into dust after clashing with the primeval origin sacred mirror. That was too shocking. A Tao artifact? Suddenly, as the flying sword shattered, a middle-aged man's voice drifted out from the depths of the altar. It was extremely ancient and profound. The distorted space was also affected. The stone face floated above the altar and said respectfully, "Master, your mind is sleeping and merging with the sacred lotus. How can I sleep when they're already at my doorstep?" The voice was clearly angry and enraged. Su Fong sucked the primeval origin sacred mirror into his palm and prepared to attack again at any moment. Suddenly, the shadow of a black lotus transformed into a human figure. It was a 3-foot-tall figure. That figure's appearance couldn't be seen clearly, but it was clearly the master the stone golem was talking about. Looks like it's not the main body, but just a young, nascent soul. Su Fong was pleasantly surprised. He stared at the black figure. Now he had some confidence in fighting him. "You were able to kill my stone golem puppet, and now you've destroyed my altered Dharma treasure. Step by step, you've come to the place where my second young nascent soul is sleeping and cultivating." The black figure trembled as if he was talking to himself. "So you're someone with a perfected physical body. No wonder your life force is so terrifying, and you can even control a Tao artifact that even I can't see through. Amazing. You were able to see through my constitution at a glance." Su Fong finally realized how powerful this black-robed figure was. His eyes suddenly turned. "I also had no choice but to come here and disturb your cultivation. I hope Senior can let us two leave this place. You're an interesting person. You came to my Tao artifact and then want to leave. If you hadn't killed the stone golem, perhaps I would have let you leave. But now you know about this place and what's deep within 7-Star Island. You also know that my second avatar is cultivating here. If you return in the future and catch me off guard, wouldn't that be the same as killing myself? I don't know anything about 7-Star Island. Once I leave, I won't know anything. You can't even fool a child with your words." "You want to fool me? I cultivated in this Wu Tan realm for countless years and finally ascended to the great world. When I left, I separated a young nascent soul and cultivated my second body here. I'm also cultivating my natal Tao field. So even if you say a lot of things, I won't let you leave. Senior, how should I address you? I'm 7-Star Child. I've cultivated for more than 100,000 years. I ascended to the great world a long time ago and left behind this life Tao artifact for tens of thousands of years." Su Fong continued, "Senior 7-Star Child, if you don't let me leave, does that mean I can't leave? One interesting ant. If you're respectful to me and realize your mistake, I'll spare your life and let you become a protector of my life-bound Tao field. You'll protect my second physical body. Once my physical body is complete, I'll definitely enlighten you to become an immortal when I return from the outside world. Senior 7-Star Child, you're wrong about 2 things. First, I don't think I've done anything wrong. I just want to live. Unlike Senior, you've absorbed the lives of countless cultivators to cultivate your second body. Second, I don't need charity from others. My life is up to me. Even if I die, I want to die by my own hands. You're an unparalleled expert, and now you've become an immortal. But even so, an immortal like you can't control my fate. Your courage is commendable at such a young age. In other words, you're ignorant. Have you never thought that even if I let you leave this place in the future, if you don't listen to my orders, once I descend from the great world and kill you, you won't be able to hide in any small world? That's a matter for the future. If you can't even grasp it now, then what's the point of talking about the future? Senior might be an immortal, but as the saying goes, even a rabbit will bite when cornered. Furthermore, Junior isn't even a rabbit. If you want to die, then I won't stop you. 7-Star Island was created by me, and this is all my power. I'll just suppress you and directly use your physical body as a sacrifice for my second body. After saying that the space around the black figure twisted, releasing an invisible pressure. The black figure floated above the spell altar, absorbing even more black figures from it. From 3 feet tall, it quickly grew to the height of a normal person. Then it sucked in a mouthful of air, and the entire space became ice-cold and silent. What a terrifying shackle. At this moment, he was no longer able to casually sense his surroundings. The Seven-Star Child's young nascent shadow should be the one controlling this space. It was a peerless power that could even shackle the Lord of 5 Poisons. It was also the final power the Seven-Star Child had used to protect his life Tao artifact. Even though Su Fong knew he was about to be trapped by the Seven-Star Child's power, he was unable to retreat. Was there even a path to retreat in this space? True Devil Blood Plate. Since his opponent was a young nascent soul, the true Devil Blood Plate flew out of his mouth and quickly circled above Su Fong's head. The Seven-Star Child was startled. The true Devil Blood Plate. That's a supreme treasure of the Devil Path. It's a treasure refined by the Devil Path's devil race in a greater world. It's a peerless treasure that can shackle a young nascent soul. I really underestimated you. If I had been careless, I really would have been heavily injured by it. Su Fong took a step forward. I, Su Fong, am not someone who can be bullied by others. Seven-Star Child, if you want to kill me, then bring it on. In the end, it'll be a fight to the death. Either you die, or I die. Haha, your cultivation base isn't much. Just by relying on your perfect physical body and a few treasures, you dare to act arrogant in front of me? I'll let you know the true power of a powerhouse. The author's words, it's been a long time since it dropped. Today, it's time for the May Day celebration. We're all laborers. Hee, I'll casually say that God's Miracle is the heaven-defying Immortal Sovereigns game. It's currently being developed. In about a month, we'll be able to play the game. I'm looking forward to God's Miracle's new book. As for the 9 Truths 9 Yang game, we'll have to wait until the last day. Chapter 407. Seven-Star Child controlled the enchantment around the altar. As a young soul, he gathered all the power in this mysterious space. Su Fong felt that he was being shackled in the divine form. He felt powerless. Other than powerless, there was nothing else. With his current cultivation level and strength, he definitely couldn't fight against Seven-Star Child. The true demon blood plate above his head suddenly expanded to 10 feet. Then, Su Fong flashed to the center of the true demon blood plate and was at the same altitude as Seven-Star Child. True demon blood plate. Seven-Star Child seemed to know that this Dharma treasure was difficult to deal with. More importantly, he was now a young soul and not a physical body. The true demon blood plate just happened to suppress the essence soul, so Seven-Star Child was actually at a disadvantage. Divine form Dharma land, with me as the supreme support. The surrounding space seemed to be in a state of illusion. Countless lotus leaves appeared, and this place became a space formed by lotus leaves. Shackle. As a peerless powerhouse, Seven-Star Child flicked his finger. The lotus leaf space instantly froze, and a large amount of lotus leaf aura enveloped Su Fong. Su Fong almost couldn't move. The true demon blood plate was still there. The Dharma treasure released billowing demonic aura, which merged with Su Fong. Su Fong shot out bursts of green fiery true fire, which swept towards Seven-Star Child. This true fire is not ordinary. Extinguish. Seven-Star Child saw the green fiery true fire and smiled. He flicked his finger again, and all the green fiery true fire in the air were extinguished instantly. Su Fong trembled. Damn it. Divine powers are useless against him. Boom, boom, boom. The power of the spatial shackle and the countless lotus leaves turned into a seal and started to seal the true demon blood plate. Su Fong felt that he was about to be crushed alive, especially when the true demon blood plate was constantly being sealed by the spatial power. If this continued, once the true demon blood plate was sealed, he would become a piece of meat on the chopping board. I have to think of a way. The lotus leaves' power was increasing. Kid, you can't use the true demon blood plate. so I can seal it. Next, I will devour your essence soul and let you see how powerful the yang soul of a peerless powerhouse is. 7 true demon blood plate was suppressed so easily. After 7-star child finished laughing, a seemingly invisible yet strange light shot out of his eyes. Oh no, the might of a primordial spirit. His pupils widened. Su Fong hurriedly stimulated the true demon blood plate. Only a part of its strength seeped out from the places that hadn't been sealed. In the blink of an eye, a shocking defense was formed around the divine aperture in his mind. When the lotus light from the 7-star child touched the Su Fong's defense, it immediately shattered the flesh fetus divine armor. The power of the primordial spirit directly penetrated his mind. The divine might of 7-star child's lotus-like primordial spirit permeated the surroundings of his divine aperture. Oh, your divine aperture is so sturdy, and your magic power is also abnormally strong. Unfortunately, a genius like you will die in my hands. Countless lotus roots took the form of the 7-star child, floating like willow leaves. Hiss, hiss. In the center of his mind, around his divine aperture, Su Fong also began to perform the heavenly devil disintegration seal. A large number of primordial spirit phantoms faced 7-star child's primordial spirit. You can also control the heavenly devil disintegration seal to this extent, but you're still at the 6th stage of the indestructible realm. You're not my opponent. I'll first devour your primordial spirit. Then I'll see what other secrets you have in the depths of your perfected body. Ha! With a loud laugh, 7-star child's lotus roots transformed into thousands of primordial spirit phantoms. They were like a magnificent army in the depths of his mind. His voice shook his mind, stirring up countless explosions that wanted to explode Su Fong's head. For Su Fong, the divine might of 7-star child's primordial spirit was like a magnificent army. Once it attacked, it would crush him. True demon blood plate. His body absorbed the power of the true demon blood plate and performed a seal technique. Heavenly Devil Disintegration Seal. Heavenly Devil Primordial Spirit. It came from a supreme Heavenly Devil technique. Numerous primordial spirits that looked exactly like Su Fong appeared around his divine aperture. Aha, not enough. Not enough in front of me. Kill. Hundreds of 7-star child's primordial spirit phantoms immediately rushed towards the center. Whoosh, whoosh. Su Fong's primordial spirit was burning with black, fiendish energy. A heavenly devil primordial spirit turned into a defense. Boom, boom. Unfortunately, it still couldn't stop 7-star child's primordial spirit. It easily attacked, and Su Fong's primordial spirit defenses instantly shattered. 7-star child controlled a large number of primordial spirits to fly out. A person's strength ultimately depends on their primordial spirit. The stronger your primordial spirit is, the more it can survive in the world without any restrictions. Even if you have a peerless Tao item, your primordial spirit is too weak. You'll never be able to escape from here. Su Fong activated the Heavenly Devil Disintegration Seal again. It turned into layers of primordial spirit defenses, but they were easily destroyed by 7-star child's attacks. Su Fong's primordial spirit was like an egg, while 7-star child was like a rock. The difference was too great. Su Fong couldn't stop 7-star child from occupying his mind and devouring his primordial spirit. 7-star child's divine power filled his mind. I can give you another choice. Give up resisting now and let me suppress you. Be my guardian from now on, and I'll give you a way out in the future. He grinned. Giving up isn't my style. Until the end, you won't know who will have a last laugh. You don't know what's good for you. I'll devour your primordial spirit right now. The surrounding divine power immediately formed countless ripples of energy that surged into the divine aperture. Su Fong's primordial spirit started to collapse. Under the pressure of 7-star child's primordial spirit, his primordial spirit's will was about to collapse at any time. I can't care about anything else now. Soon, even the Heavenly Devil Disintegration Seal couldn't be released in large quantities. Su Fong clearly felt his divine power being suppressed around the divine aperture. My fate is not up to the heavens. At this moment, all his power surged into the divine aperture. Fate is my fate. I control the heavens. If I want to live, the heavens can't take it away. Fate is my fate. I control the heavens. If I want to live, the heavens and earth will shake. As Su Fong chanted the incantation, the energy around his body eventually flew out from his divine aperture. More and more Tao runes appeared and surrounded his divine aperture. Time to wake up, extinguish. Around the divine aperture, the divine power that suppressed Su Fong's primordial spirit in the divine aperture immediately formed a huge seven-star child. His black robe was like stars, and his hands seemed to reach out to grab the divine aperture. Chi, chi, chi. As soon as seven-star child's godly power touched the Tao runes outside the divine aperture, a part of it was incinerated on the spot. Even more godly power was incinerated by the terrifying power of the Tao runes. When seven-star child's divine power pressed down on the divine aperture, the divine aperture would be crushed and turned into ashes. It was as if everything in front of seven-star child's divine power would be destroyed. However, at this moment, the Tao runes from the heavenly secret life shrinking technique incinerated the divine might that was coming at him. Layers of formless divine might were shattered. It wasn't the divine aperture that was collapsing, but seven-star child's divine power that was collapsing like a mountain. What happened to him? Why is his consciousness so weak? Outside Su Fong's true Bodilon Haicheng, who had just regained consciousness, walked towards Su Fong with difficulty. She saw Su Fong floating in the air, and his eyes were lifeless. She felt that something was wrong. Looking at the altar, she saw a surge of primordial spirit divine power controlling Su Fong's body. Lan Haicheng's expression changed. So it's the Yang soul that's killing Su Fong's primordial spirit. What's wrong? Lan Haicheng was trying to think of a way. If anything happened to Su Fong, would she be able to get out alive by herself? Of course not. At this moment, she heard some strange sounds and was shocked to see Su Fong's head. It was originally black, but now it was like a withered leaf that was losing its life aura. In less than 3 breaths, the black hair had turned white. It was as if they had arrived at the end of the world, and all life was withering. It wasn't just the head that was changing. Su Fong's appearance was also aging. He went from 20 years old to around 40 years old, and he was still changing. The young soul is out. Lan Haicheng was nervous. She didn't understand why Su Fong was aging, but if this continued, Su Fong would die of old age. The young soul flew out of Lan Haicheng's eyes and entered Su Fong's mind. Deep as mind, Chi-Chi around the divine aperture, seven-star child divine power was still being incinerated by countless runes. Above, seven-star child's primordial spirit was getting weaker and weaker. He looked down in shock and exclaimed, "What kind of forbidden technique is this? It's so terrifying that it can actually kill my primordial spirit's will. This is the power of fate. I believe in myself, and my fate is in my hands. I'll burn myself and use my life as a bet to fight you to the death." Su Fong's primordial spirit was weakening in the divine aperture, but his voice was still echoing. "Even if I have to die, I'll die in my own hands. Seven-star child, you're a peerless giant who has cultivated for countless years. Even so, I won't submit to your divine power. Even if I have to die today, I'll make you suffer a serious injury." His consciousness continued to disappear. Su Fong gradually lost the ability to sense his body. He was floating in the void and in an endless state, which meant that he was gradually losing his physical body and only had his primordial spirit left. "Burn. If the world wants me to be a living sacrifice, I'll give everything to the heavens first. I'll give everything, and you must help me burn everything." At this moment, Su Fong was very clear about his situation. He could only try his best to activate the life-shrinking technique and use this void ability that came from fate to fight against the seven-star child. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Many mysterious Tao runes rose from the defensive layer protecting the divine aperture and turned into Tao rune flames, burning Seven Star Child's divine power. Seven Star Child's divine power exploded in the sky above the divine aperture. Damn it! I took so much effort to peel off a young nascent soul and spent 10,000 years to build this seven-star island to refine a second physical body. My young nascent soul has been burned to such an extent by an ant like you. When I completely erase your primordial spirit, I'll let my young nascent soul take over your body, and you'll compensate me with your body. Mutual destruction. Su Fong didn't care about his life, and Seven Star Child also completely released the power of his young nascent soul to erase Su Fong's will and take over his body. The life-shrinking arts Tao runes were too terrifying. Even Seven Star Child's young nascent soul's divine power was burned by the Tao runes. However, because of the life-shrinking art, Su Fong's primordial spirit, which was in the depths of the divine aperture, became weaker and weaker. Chi-Chi. The Tao rune flames burned fiercely like a volcano. The power of Seven Star Child's primordial spirit was incinerated and disappeared after touching the volcano. Seven Star Child and Su Fong were both risking their lives. Overall, Seven Star Child's young, nascent soul's cultivation was too shocking. Even if he couldn't deal with the life-shrinking art, time was in his favor. Su Fong wouldn't be able to hold on for long. However, it was an ancient giant, so he could hold on. So powerful. Even Prince Shui can't kill Su Fong now. A young nascent soul quietly came to the depths of her mind. Blue Ocean City, her young nascent soul left her body and entered the depths of Su Fong's mind. At this time, Su Fong and Seven Star Child were still fighting and couldn't sense the appearance of a third young nascent soul. Blue Ocean City's young nascent soul suddenly sped up. Chance! Chapter 408. Opportunity. The moment that word flashed in Lan Haicheng's mind, her young soul turned into cold air and flew towards Seven Star Child. At this moment, deep inside Su Fong's mind, Seven Star Child's young soul was above the divine aperture, while Su Fong's essence soul was gradually being eaten away. The life-shrinking technique was used as a defense, and it condensed in the divine aperture and burned Seven Star Child's essence soul. Su Fong's mind was like a river of stars, glittering with stars. Bang! Ziz! Above the divine aperture. When Seven Star Child's essence soul descended and attacked the Tao rune's defense, Seven Star Child didn't expect that a cold air would suddenly sweep over his back and send him flying. Chi! The sound of rolling heavenly thunder came from the blue figure in the cold chi. The blue figure turned into a human figure. It was Lan Haicheng, who had come in time to attack Seven Star Child. Seven Star Child was in a terrible state, and his young soul was twisting from time to time. Senior sister. Without the pressure of Seven Star Child's divine aura, Su Fong, who was inside his divine aperture, immediately felt something. Only then did he realize that Blue Sea City had unexpectedly entered his mind. Whoosh! She instantly flashed out of the divine aperture and clashed with Lan Haicheng. Seven Star Child was furious. Bitch, how dare you sneak attack me? Watch your mouth. You're an ancient giant. Lan Haicheng didn't give him any face and mocked him indifferently. Su Fong was able to catch his breath and establish contact with his body. Although it was difficult, he still absorbed the power of the true demon blood plate. He then looked at Lan Haicheng. Senior sister, you're taking too much of a risk. Lan Haicheng looked at him coldly. We can only leave this place if we work together. Without you, how can I get out? Junior brother, this young soul is too terrifying, but it's only a bit stronger than me now. Let's work together and let my young soul help you activate your divine power and burn him here. You have a way. Su Fong didn't understand. In fact, he didn't know much about young souls, since he had never had one before. It's very simple. That layer of protection around the divine aperture allowed junior apprentice brother to fight against a young soul powerhouse with your indestructible cultivation. As long as Junior Apprentice Brother's Yuan spirit was several times stronger, you would be able to burn him to death. But how do we do it? Fuse our Yuan spirits together. With my Yang nascent soul as the center of power, you can control my Yang nascent soul to unleash a divine might capable of killing the Yuan spirits of giants. Primordial spirit fusion. Su Fong was startled, and his breathing stopped. Shock filled his eyes. Senior Apprentice Sister, this method isn't bad, but the Yuan spirit is incomparably private and important to anyone. I've heard that women view the Yuan spirit as their everything. If you fuse with my Yuan spirit, wouldn't that sully Senior Apprentice Sister? Once the primordial spirits merged after the fusion, Su Fong would become Blue Ocean City. As for Blue Sea City, it was Su Fong. Who was the controller? Who would be able to control the other party's physical body? For Lan Haicheng, this was equivalent to having a clean body and a body full of secrets. They would have no way to hide in front of Su Fong. On the contrary, Lan Haicheng was anxious and sweated profusely. We can worry about that now. Let's talk about it after we survive. Come, we don't have much time. That giant's Yang Ying is still very strong. If he injures you even a little more, even if you and I fuse our primordial spirits, we won't be his match. Okay, let me and Senior Apprentice Sister go all out. Finally, Su Fong nodded. Yang Ying transform. Lan Haicheng formed a hand seal. Her Yang Ying body immediately turned into layers of phantoms and went into Su Fong's Yuan spirit. This also meant that Lan Haicheng was giving everything to Su Fong. If Su Fong wanted to harm her, he could erase her consciousness and devour her young infant with just a thought. But in the end, she still chose to do this. None of you will live. I, the 7-star child, who had once killed any major figure in a minor world by stripping off his young nascent soul, almost died at the hands of 2 ants today. I'll make you spit out every last bit of what you ate. Whoosh whoosh. 7-star child then unleashed his godly aura and turned into a raging sea city. He stood in the middle, baring his fangs and brandishing his claws. If this attack really hit Su Fong and Lan Haicheng, their Yuan Shun would be instantly annihilated. I can't believe that fusing with Senior Apprentice Sister's Yang Ying will make my Yuan spirit more than 10 times stronger. It's just enough to use the life shrinking art. I control fate and fate. If I'm destroyed, everything will be destroyed. He secretly controlled his Yuan spirit and immediately fused it perfectly with Lan Haicheng's Yang Ying. The moment their Yuan spirits fused, Su Fong and Lan Haicheng became one and turned into a Yang Ying. This state was also called dual cultivation on a certain level. Dual cultivation of Yuan spirits whoosh. A large number of burning Dao runes appeared in Su Fong's mind. Chi, 7-star child's Yang Ying clashed with the Dao runes. The Dao runes made 7-star child's Yuan spirit burn again. Sparks flew in all directions as fine powder spread out. However, when the Dao runes descended, Su Fong and Lan Haicheng's fused Yuan spirits instantly shrank and their aura was almost shattered. Activating such a powerful heavenly secret life shrinking technique would undoubtedly inflict heavy injuries on himself. No, what kind of power is this? An Yuan spirit attack? No, why can't I break it? Why can't I defend against it? Burning snowflakes fell from the sky in his mind. Upon closer inspection, the sky was filled with Dao runes descending around 7-star child. Wherever he flew past, the Dao runes that touched him would instantly burn holes in the ground. In just a moment, 7-star child's Yang Ying was riddled with holes. 7-star child was furious, but he still ignored the Dao runes. At this time, he didn't believe the Dao runes could kill him because he looked down on imperishable realm cultivators. Dao runes filled the sky and descended. Su Fong and 7-star child seemed to be very close to each other, but they were actually very far away. When 7-star child fell into the world of Dao runes, Su Fong's Yuan spirit sensed that his body had turned into an old man in his 70s. He was floating, gasping for breath. The life-shrinking art seemed to have used up his lifespan to the limit. With a thought, he suddenly found that he was no longer in his body, but in Lan Haicheng. With just a glance, he saw every part of Lan Haicheng. He suddenly felt dizzy, just like when he saw Xiao Mei and had a nosebleed. In the depths of Su Fong, Lan Haicheng shyly said, "Don't look so much. You can't be distracted when killing a powerful enemy." "Sorry." Su Fong immediately retracted his senses and looked ahead. The surroundings were filled with Dao runes. Furthermore, Seven Star Child had already fallen into a world of Dao runes. He was fleeing inside, trying to find a way to escape. That was because Dao runes were too terrifying. They could burn any Yuan spirit. If Seven Star Child couldn't escape, he would instantly be burned to death. No matter how strong a Yang Ying was, it wasn't a corporeal body. That was the weakness of giants. You can't escape. In an instant, all the Dao runes surged forward. The Dao runes flew over from all directions, and more of them filled up the space densely. "Kill him," Lan Haicheng once more called out. She couldn't control Su Fong. Only Su Fong could control her. Senior apprentice sister. She was using Dao runes to condense a Dao rune sword. This was a Dao rune sword that wanted to kill Seven Star Child. It came from the power of the life shrinking technique. Any Yang Ying or Yuan spirit would be burned to death. However, Su Fong suddenly looked at his divine aperture and saw an empty mind. Lan Haicheng was very confused. "What happened to you?" Su Fong held his breath. "Why do you think I want to kill Seven Star Child's Yang Ying? Why can't I seize the chance to take over his Yang Ying and make it my Yang Ying? Your idea is too heaven-defying. I don't know what to do, especially if you can succeed. If you are confident that you can kill him without successfully devouring his Yang Ying, then give it a try. All right, I have a 10-year agreement with Prince Shui. If I have a Yang Ying in the undead realm, then I will have another chance to fight against Prince Shui. I hope you can succeed. Your efforts won't be wasted. True demon blood plate suppress. Sensing his physical body and activating his dermic powers, the true demon blood plate flew from the outside into Su Fong's mind. It immediately became as large as a mountain. Suppress the Yang Ying. Su Fong trembled. He couldn't delay any longer and activated the true demon blood plate. Buzz! The true demon blood plate flew into the Dao rune space. Su Fong followed behind and grabbed a large amount of burning Dao runes, turning them into seals. Buzz! At the center of the Dao rune space, Seven Star Child, who was running around, didn't expect the true demon blood plate to appear above him. Su Fong activated the heavenly demon disintegration seal, and a black Xianguang immediately appeared from the true demon blood plate. The Xianguang made Seven Star Child appear, but he couldn't dodge it. It just happened to land in the middle of the Xianguang. Seven Star Child was so angry that he could burn the sky. True demon blood plate, true demon blood plate. If my true body came back, I would definitely destroy every Devil Dao treasure I see. If I was at my peak, your broken Dharma treasure wouldn't be able to do anything to me. He kept struggling, but he couldn't fly out of the true demon blood plate. Seven Star Child, even you have such a day. You probably thought of countless endings, but you never thought that you would die in the hands of an indestructible cultivator like me, right? Dao runes and seals wrapped around Seven Star Master's body at lightning speed. Buzz! The Dao rune seals were terrifying. When they touched Seven Star Child, they started to corrode and burn his young nascent soul. Seven Star Child was furious. I won't let you go. Even if you suppress me, my true body will sense everything. Sooner or later, I will come back from the great world and kill you. Maybe you're right, but when your true body comes back, I might have already used your young nascent soul to reach a supreme level. Your true body won't be able to kill me. In an instant, Su Fong didn't say anything else. He used the true demon blood plate and activated the true demon imprint, fusing it with the Dao rune seals and forcefully shaking Seven Star Child's young nascent soul. After a few tremors, Seven Star Child's young nascent soul was almost dissipating. It was already very weak. Chi! Su Fong's Yuan spirit suddenly shook and shrank again. A blue figure separated. It was Lan Haicheng, who had escaped from Su Fong's control. I'll go out and wait for you. At the same time, I'll protect our bodies just in case. Lan Haiqing nodded and immediately flew out of Seven Star Child's mind. Seven Star Child struggled helplessly. His Yuan spirit's power couldn't even compare to Su Fang's. Adding on the fact that it was sealed, it couldn't even be compared to a toothless tiger. Seven Star Child won't let you go. What Su Fang, want is the present. Only by living now can I have a future. When your true self returns, I will stand in front of him in a dignified manner. As for you, starting today, you will be my Yang soul. Devour. Su Fang immediately absorbed the surrounding Dao runes and the true demon bloodplate's power. They twisted and flew directly into Seven Star Child's Yang nascent soul. Heavens, you're playing with me. As Su Fang's Yuan spirit entered his body, Seven Star Child's Yang nascent soul trembled and instantly disappeared. Some flames burned, causing some dust to fly out. Buzz! In less than 3 breaths, Seven Star Child's body quickly condensed. However, his appearance and body immediately transformed into Su Fang's. He looked exactly the same and was flawless. There was no longer a trace of Seven Star Child's aura. Chapter 409. It was still a young, nascent soul. The only difference was that Seven Star Child's appearance had transformed into Su Fang. The power of the true devil bloodplate was still burning away some of the mysterious aura in a young, nascent soul's body. When a young, nascent soul's aura disappeared, he smiled excitedly. I did it. I really did it. I have a young, nascent soul in the imperishable realm. Seven Star Child's will had disappeared. The owner of the young, nascent souls was Su Fang. He immediately released his Yuan spirit and absorbed some of the scattered will into the young, nascent soul. When the young infant returned to the divine aperture and fused with the corporeal body, the young infant could breathe again. Now that he had the young infant, he didn't need the corporeal body to sense. The young infant could see everything outside his body. It could almost sense this mysterious space. Most importantly, the young nascent soul could control the aura outside his body, as well as any magic treasures and energy inside his body. That was the power of the young nascent soul. Buzz. He slowly opened his eyes and saw several white strands floating in front of him. He felt as if his breathing had been shackled and his life force was about to dissipate. He didn't know why, but when he tried to stimulate his life force, he felt extremely tired. When he tried to use his pure yang energy normally, not only did his body feel empty, even his 3 yang meridians only had a sliver of energy left. Only the purple Chi Dharma spirit still had energy. All that was left was the dragon taming wood's left arm. His skin was wrinkled, and upon closer inspection, he was an old man in his 70s, nearing the end of his life. Lan Haiqing was sitting cross-legged 3 meters in front of him. He sensed Su Fang's movement and immediately looked over. Junior apprentice brother, congratulations on successfully controlling a young nascent soul. I do have a young nascent soul, but my body, the latter side. I also find it strange that your appearance would become like this in such a short time. I can't feel any energy in your body anymore. What happened? This should be because all the energy in my body disappeared and I couldn't support myself anymore. Maybe I used a forbidden technique and used my lifespan to end up like this. In other words, the only reason we could survive was because you sacrificed your physical body. Lan Haiqing's face paled. He faintly realized something. Isn't it better to live? Is it better to live? So what if I have this body? After comforting himself, he let Lan Haiqing continue to rest. He didn't have time to go to the altar and check his surroundings. Even if he took out a large amount of resources and consumed them, he did not dare to devour the Celestial's essence blood because his body could no longer withstand the Celestial's power. If he forcefully fused with it, his body would instantly be crushed and he would die. Even paragons are powerless. His heart trembled. Suddenly, he had a feeling that his life was coming to an end, and he wanted to put down everything and have a good sleep. From a state of Zhao to the Crimson Firmament continent, and then to the Wu Tan domain. He had never been in such a sorry state before. He had lost a large portion of his life force and exhausted all his energy. He had almost died here. In the end, he had to rely on his primordial chaos sacred state and the life-shrinking technique to sacrifice his lifespan to survive. It could be said that he had narrowly escaped death. Even in Xinjia Gate, he wasn't in such a sorry state. But even after paying such a price, Su Fong didn't regret it all. Instead, he felt unusually comfortable. He felt that everything was different, and he had a sense of control. He then stimulated the energy within the purple cloud magic spirit and had the Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda absorb the energy of the 67 junior commanders. Su Fong was even close to absorbing the life energy within the true demon's blood. His body first used the dragon subduing wood to devour all kinds of energy, and then his life force exploded. He pushed the power of the nine yang to explode his life force. Su Fong was tired. He didn't think about anything else, such as challenging Prince Shui or leaving this space. He just wanted to have a good rest. After all, his body's ability was not that of an ordinary cultivator. The better Su Fong's situation was, the more shocking the energy within his body was. At this time, he was urging his young infant to help his body control all kinds of energy. Apart from his 3 yang meridians, all his meridians had withered and withered. They were less than a tenth of what they were before. And just like his energy recovery, Su Fong also felt a heavy, invisible force pressing down on his body. Using the heavenly fate life shrinking technique this time probably consumed more than 100 years, or even several hundred years of my lifespan. It should be more than 1,000 years. Undying 6-stage cultivators have a lifespan of 1,000 years. Normally speaking, as long as they use resources and cultivate, their lifespan can reach several thousand years. According to normal circumstances, I've already consumed more than 1,000 years of my lifespan. I only have a few dozen years left at most. What is this? Could it be that they won't even give me a chance to challenge Prince Shui and fight for my life? Why must fate be so cruel and bumpy? I, Su Fong, have strived step by step to reach my current cultivation base. With my current achievements, could it be that I have to follow the heavenly Tao and follow fate to live longer and enjoy the grace of the heavens? If that's really the case, then what's the point of living in the immortal ceiling sect if I had to lower my head and beg for their protection and resources? If fate wants to kill me, Su Fong, and doesn't give me a chance, then I can only be like before in charge through each obstacle step by step. In desperate straits, anyone's Tao heart would be shaken. Su Fong's will underwent a subtle change. Fortunately, it was a bit contradictory. He didn't choose to follow fate and the heavenly Taos. Instead, he resolutely devoured even more resources to change himself. Several days later, because of the pure yang energy, the dragon subduing wood, and all kinds of other resources, Su Fong's appearance gradually changed. He went from 70 years old to 60 years old, but for some reason his head was still pale. Perhaps if he recovered a bit more of his life force, his head would return to its original pitch-black state. Fortunately, this mysterious space still contained the energy of stone essence. It was a wondrous life aura that allowed Su Fong to constantly recover. His body gradually regained energy. Pure yang energy stimulated his cells, causing his life force to constantly grow. Damn it, because of the consumption of my lifespan, it's hard for me to purify the sediment left behind by high-level resources. If this continues, there will be even more sediment left behind in my meridians, bones, and flesh. In the end, it will become a blockage, and I won't be able to cultivate. At this time, because of the consumption of his lifespan, all kinds of side effects appeared. In the past, he had encountered sediment, but with the pure yang energy, he could quickly purify it. Not all high-level energy would leave behind sediment. But now, when he consumed resources above the 6th stage of the indestructible realm, it would more or less lead to sediment. The higher the 6th stage of the indestructible realm, the more terrifying the sediment would be. If it were before, even if he consumed resources at the Yang Soul realm, there wouldn't be any sediment left behind. Great perfection stage abilities were also shackled. Whether it was hearing or vision, they were all inferior to before. Feeling that even the resources were against him, Su Fong clenched his teeth and continued to devour resources. He had to restore his energy first. His appearance also changed a little, returning to his 50s. However, his various abilities and the shackles on his body still gave Su Fong the feeling that he was powerless. Even if he restored his true chi, he couldn't restore his lifespan. Strictly speaking, in just a few years, he would have to kick the bucket. Lan Haiqing spoke again. Junior apprentice brother, I'll help you recover. Senior apprentice sister, thank you for your kindness. Senior apprentice sister, you should make good use of this opportunity to fuse with the stone Rui and strengthen yourself. Second stage of the Calamity Realm can only be considered a powerhouse in this cultivation world. As for my situation, I can only recover step by step. Su Fong declined the other party's kindness. He didn't want to be distracted. He didn't know why, but when he saw Lan Haiqing now, he always felt a bit awkward. Just as Green Feather King said, Su Fong was good in all aspects, but he was too weak in the face of women. I feel better. More than 10 days passed. Su Fong found that his appearance had returned to his 30s. But his head was still pale, but the white had slightly turned silver white. It seemed that his vitality was recovering, and indeed, Su Fong was getting better step by step. If this goes on, restoring my appearance won't have any effect. Forget about this white hair. I don't rely on my face to make a living. I have to find a way to leave here as soon as possible or recover as soon as possible. He stopped cultivating decisively. After pondering for a moment, he stood up. This was the first time he stood up with his young nascent soul. It felt good. Other than the invisible gravity in his body, everything else was very good. Especially the young nascent soul. He could sense the aura around him without activating it. Su Fong came to Lan Haiqing's side, feeling like an elder. She slowly moved without wind. Let's go to the altar and take a look. We have to find a way to leave here. You? Lan Haiqing's heart was filled with sadness. He understood what she meant. He smiled faintly and walked towards the altar with her. He was still cautious and careful with every step. There might be some mysteries in the altar. Fortunately, the young nascent soul was mainly based on 7 stars power. Although it didn't have 7 stars will, at least the young nascent soul could easily sense everything around it. There didn't seem to be any danger in the altar. Hiss! But when they were about to reach the altar, a defense suddenly formed. It came from a stone golem's face. It was panicking. You guys don't come over. It's you again. He even bumped into someone he knew. Su Fong shouted domineeringly. Your master's primordial spirit has been killed by us. Even your master can't stop us. And you still want to stop me? You. The stone golem's face trembled in fear. I can promise you that I'll let you live. As long as I leave here, I won't kill you. No matter what, your true body is no match for me. Think about it carefully. Do you want me to slap you into pieces? You really won't kill me? But I'm afraid that if you don't kill me, when my master's true body returns, he'll still kill me. You're a blockhead. Don't use your brain. Think about it carefully. When your master returns, you can find an excuse. You won't be able to fool him. Okay. The stone golem's face immediately nodded. In an instant, the defense disappeared completely. Chapter 410. Su Fong immediately summoned the stone golem's face hidden behind the spell altar to him. The stone face didn't have the aura of the giant stone monster from before. He didn't dare to get too close and asked in a trembling voice, why did you call me? Do you want to kill me? If I want to kill you, why would I follow you? Luan Mingyi? Luna Temple scolded. He glared and pointed. Tell me the origin of this thing. This. The stone face was very uneasy, but he couldn't resist Su Fong's killing intent. This is the Black Lotus True Body. Master spent 10,000 years using the Black Lotus, his own essence blood, and countless spiritual items to create this Black Lotus True Body. Master wants to refine a second true body. Once he succeeds, this true body can fuse with his life domain here. Seven Star Child's young, nascent soul used to reside in this Black Lotus true body. Yes, the Black Lotus true body is extraordinary, right? Let's talk about it in detail. Su Fong frowned and revealed a strange smile. Of course it's extraordinary. Do you know the origin of this Black Lotus? You don't, right? I know, why would I ask you? Su Fong almost shouted, but he chose to remain silent. Let's talk about the Black Lotus first. This Black Lotus is one of the spiritual items formed since the birth of Wu-Tan realm. Those who can control such a treasure are all supreme realm lords. The stone face said, "You must have heard of realm lords before. Several realm lords have appeared in Wu-Tan realm, and the current realm lord controls the only Black Lotus in Wu-Tan realm. Could it be this one?" Su Fong and Lan Haiqing's expressions changed when they heard that the Black Lotus was extraordinary and was related to realm lords. No, it's the most precious treasure of realm lords. It's used to fuse with supreme small realms. How can you take it out so easily? Country bumpkin. I've never seen a country bumpkin like you. Get to the point. Master Seven Star Child's master once had a good relationship with Realm Lord. He obtained a Black Lotus from Realm Lord. This is that Black Lotus. After Seven Star Child's master died, he gave the Black Lotus to Seven Star Child. Master used it to refine his second true body. Isn't this the same as the Heaven Gourd Realm's Spirit Gourd? Snorted Lan Haiqing's gourd. Zhuotian Domain's Heavenly Gourd Domain. That Heavenly Gourd Spirit Tree is indeed a shocking treasure. In fact, it has the same origin as the Black Lotus. Su Fong didn't expect the stone face to know about the Heavenly Gourd Realm. His words shocked Su Fong. After all, the Heavenly Gourd Domain was the secret of the Zhuotian realm. Su Fong flipped his hand. Take a look and see if this is it. The fire cloud spirit gourd flew out of his palm with a puff of flames. The stone face clicked his tongue in surprise. Spiritual gourd. It's indeed a spiritual gourd that only exists in the Zhuotian realm. You're very capable to be able to obtain a spiritual gourd. Although it's not a female gourd, it's still incredible. I really didn't misjudge. The Flame Cloud Spirit Gourd was a good treasure. He rubbed it a few times and looked at the stone face. Tell me more about this Black Lotus true body. This Black Lotus has been in the hands of Seven Star Child's master for tens of thousands of years. It's also known as Seven Star Child's treasure. He cultivated the Black Lotus and relied on its power to successfully become an immortal. He stepped into a great world and surpassed his master. Then he obtained an immortal body. He wanted to use the Black Lotus to create his second true body. Once he succeeded, it would be incredible. Because the Black Lotus is the Wu-Tan realm's core energy, his true body would also contain the Wu-Tan realm's core energy. In the future, Seven Star Child could use his second true body to kill the Wu-Tan realm's realm lord and become its master. What a grand idea! Su Fong broke out in cold sweat. But Seven Star Child has already become an immortal. Why does he still want the Realm Lord's position? The Realm Lord is incredible. You're really a country bumpkin. Once you become a Realm Lord, you can use the Wu-Tan realm's power and achieve true immortality. Once you die outside, you'll be reborn in the Wu-Tan realm for a short time. And in the Wu-Tan realm, you're an existence that no one can kill. Unless you destroy the Wu-Tan realm and turn the small world into dust, the Realm Lord will die. The Realm Lord is the nest of a true expert. It's their life domain. That Seven Star Child is an immortal and has the Black Lotus. Can't he become a Realm Lord? The current Realm Lord has already become an immortal and is undoubtedly very strong. He's much stronger than Seven Star Child. Seven Star Child can only kill the Realm Lord in the Great World and quickly return to the Wu-Tan realm. Then he'll use his second true body to seize the Realm Lord's position while the Realm Lord is still weak. He's really good at scheming. Even Lan Haiqing was shocked for a long time. Su Fong's eyes suddenly lit up. Senior Apprentice Sister, I want to seize this Black Lotus true body. If you do, Seven Star Child won't let you off even if you flee to the ends of the world. Lan Haicheng was flabbergasted. Why was Su Fang's idea so heaven-defying? Right now, Seven-Star Child and I are irreconcilable enemies. At this time, Su Fang stroked his silver hair. He didn't look as spirited as before. It was like he had lived for countless years, like Li Ziqing or exalted Master Yuezhen. I won't be able to last much longer. My lifespan will run out soon. True Qi is unable to stop my lifespan from advancing. And this Black Lotus true body is not only powerful, but its power is also unimaginable. At least I can be sure of one thing. It's enough for me to recover some of my lifespan, and then I'll take the opportunity to break through to the 7th level of the indestructible realm. If I don't do that, I'll quickly turn to ashes. But can you control this true body? Once it recoils, it'll be hard for you to survive. How about you? And I think of a way to solve this problem. Lan Haicheng sincerely looked at Su Fang, his eyes flashing with unease. Senior apprentice sister, I don't have time. At this time, Su Fang resolutely shook his head and turned to face the Black Lotus true body. Lan Haicheng's spirit eyes trembled once more. He suddenly felt that Su Fang was right in front of him, but he was also far away. That was because he was unable to see through him. His body could feel that warmth, but it gave off an ethereal feeling. Su Fang domineeringly said, "Stone face, I won't waste time with you. Look at me. First, I was tossed into space by your true body. Then I had a great battle with your true body. Finally, it was your master. So I want to possess this Black Lotus true body. Do you dare say no?" I don't dare. But my master definitely won't let you off. This is his plan, a plan that has lasted for hundreds of thousands of years. That's a matter for the future. In the future, let's see who improves faster. As long as you help me fuse with the Black Lotus true body, I'll let you off. That's the deal. All right, I'll do whatever you say. What is your relationship with this spiritual altar? My master used a portion of my core and countless other resources to create this spiritual altar. Then he used it to absorb the life energy of cultivators and demon beasts to nourish the Black Lotus true body. How do I start fusing with it? I'm not sure about that. Your cultivation base is far from enough to control the Black Lotus true body. I have 7-Star Child's young nascent soul. Is that not enough? I can fuse with it bit by bit. I don't have to eat it all at once and become a fatty. That's a good idea. I actually forgot that you fuse with my master's young nascent soul. With the young nascent soul fusing with the Black Lotus true body, fusing with it will be very easy. Stone face, start using the spiritual altar to absorb 7-Star Island's essence and core. Help me fuse with the Black Lotus true body. If you have any ulterior motives, I'll kill you in an instant. You've lived for hundreds of thousands of years. You should know how to respect life and death. He coldly shouted and then secretly exchanged a few words with Lan Haicheng. In truth, he just wanted to trouble Lan Haicheng to guard the spiritual altar and make sure the stone face behaved. Xianwang's 6 Paths Pagoda. A 6-story gold and silver pagoda appeared out of thin air with a rumble. "Come in." Su Fang waved his hand and pulled the Black Lotus true body from the spiritual altar into the pagoda door. Lan Haicheng shouted at the stone face, "Activate." Okay, don't mess with me. I heard that a woman's power is a tigress. The stone face hurriedly activated a lot of black stone essence. At this moment, the spiritual altar surged with energy dozens of times more than the spiritual altar that Li Ziqing once created. It was too shocking. Even Lan Haicheng was moved. The core energy of the space also flowed into the Xianwang 6 Paths Pagoda, along with the power of the spiritual altar. In the Xianwang space, Su Fang appeared with the Black Lotus true body and brought Bai Ling to the center. He let the Xianwang fuse with the spiritual altar and the space essence and gradually permeate toward the center. Bai Ling began to absorb the power of the essence. Sitting down cross-legged, Su Fang carefully sized up the Black Lotus true body. This was comparable to the 5 Poisons true body. It was even stronger than the 5 Poisons true body. After all, the five poisons true body was not formed by the essence of the small world, but the Black Lotus true body was created by the Black Lotus of the Wu-Tan realm. At least in the small world, the Black Lotus true body was stronger than the five poisons true body. In the large world, the two were about the same. It was hard to tell who was stronger. Yin and Yang power form. He could not casually fuse with the Black Lotus true body. He grabbed circles of Yin and Yang power to wrap around the Black Lotus true body. He also released the Yang infant into the Black Lotus true body. Especially when the Yang infant entered the Black Lotus true body, it was effortless. After all, it was the same power as the Black Lotus true body. Moreover, the Black Lotus true body was just a spiritual treasure without consciousness. After the Yang infant fused, Su Fong was pleasantly surprised to find that the Yang infant could control the Black Lotus true body and cooperate with his fusion. The Yin and Yang power also began to fuse with the Black Lotus true body. Chi. After a while, the Black Lotus above the Black Lotus true body's head trembled and was burned by a flame, instantly turning into ashes. Su Fong didn't understand. He was shocked and hurriedly asked the stone face. So it wasn't Su Fong's fault. The Black Lotus true body had already fused all its power with the Black Lotus true body. Now, the Black Lotus true body was the Black Lotus true body, and the Black Lotus true body was the spiritual treasure. After the accident with the Heavenly Neck Spirit Ring, Su Fong began to feel reverence for many high-level treasures. He was afraid that he would cause them to break. Fuse. The Yang infant and Yin and Yang power simultaneously activated the Black Lotus true body. ZZZ. The Black Lotus true body was surrounded by flames. Black blood began to rise from its chest. It was the blood of the Black Lotus true body. When the blood arrived in front of Su Fong, he let out a loud cry of exhilaration. In that instant, a bowl-sized wound appeared on the left side of his chest. The blood-colored heart could be seen beating. Whoosh! The black blood of the Black Lotus true body came to the wound and flowed into Su Fong's body bit by bit like a trickle of water. Immediately, there were sounds of explosions and impacts in Su Fong's body. Because the Black Lotus true body had surpassed Su Fong's body, it brought a terrifying pressure. Without the Yin and Yang power and the Yang infant to refine and control, Su Fong had already been crushed by the blood. Master, please don't blame me. I still have to guard this natal dojo for you. In the outside space, on the side of the altar, the stone face that controlled the spatial energy and the altar's power was putting his hands together as if he was praying for Bodhisattva's protection. Chapter 411. Mysterious Yellow. Space. The Black Lotus true body was slowly turning into blood under the fusion of the Yin and Yang power and the separation of the Yang infant. It poured into the wound in Su Fong's chest and seeped into his heart, organs, meridians, bones, and cells. His entire body was gradually filled with the power of the Black Lotus true body. Fortunately, I refined a part of the Black Lotus power so that my body won't reject the Black Lotus true body. With the Yin and Yang power, this Black Lotus true body is simply tailor-made for me. If my body hadn't been consumed to this extent, I would have already started to break through to the indestructible 7th stage after absorbing the power of the Black Lotus true body. My body would have undergone astonishing changes. Silver slightly rose, and Su Fong's appearance recovered a bit. He was now 27 or 28 years old. Because the Black Lotus true body had fused with his body, Su Fong's aura was as strong as before. The power of the Black Lotus true body was like a marrow cleansing. After it entered his body, it started to fuse with every part of his body bit by bit. It was like a dry field encountering a thunderstorm, and it once again caused Su Fong to feel comfortable throughout his body. Moreover, the invisible pressure within his body gradually reduced by a great deal. Especially as he continued to absorb the Black Lotus true body, Su Fong gradually sensed the mysterious space outside more clearly. Once he fused with the Black Lotus true body, the space would have nowhere to hide in front of Su Fong. The dragon taming wood fused with the Black Lotus true body, causing the dragon taming wood to release a dazzling green light. The young infant in the divine aperture was also stronger. The stronger Su Fong was, the stronger the young infant was. If this continued, even if he couldn't reach the height of 7 stars, he could still be comparable to any young infant cultivator. In addition to the power of the Black Lotus true body, the huge power from the external altar directly transferred energy to Su Fong. In the end, it turned into true qi, causing the energy in his dantian and 3 yang meridians to gradually become abundant. After absorbing only 1/10 of the Black Lotus true body's power, Su Fong felt that he had almost recovered. The Black Lotus true body size was also a bit smaller and was still constantly shedding blood. Incredible. With the energy, his body had recovered to a certain extent, and he could freely control the young infant. Su Fong began to carefully examine his body. The result was that he didn't know, but when he did, he was truly shocked. The blood in his body actually had traces of blood. The blood threads connected Su Fong's blood, muscles, bones, and jinchi. It felt as if Su Fong's body had turned into an indescribable body of blood threads. After coming to the spiritual altar and meeting Lan Haicheng face to face, he immediately flew to the side and used the 100 acupoints finger technique. Lan Haicheng waited at the side, secretly watching the stone face's every move. Chi. Soon, there was movement in his body. Su Fong's skin was burning, and he was about to spontaneously combust. After this strange change, his skin really burned. Then, a familiar tribulation aura rushed out of his body like a ferocious beast. Whoosh! Whoosh! The energy shook the air, and the tribulation aura also burst out. Su Fong was shrouded in a spontaneously combusting state. At this moment, terrifying impurities surged out of his body. Like black gravel falling to the ground, they began to pile up. Such a large amount of impurities was really shocking. Su Fong was not surprised. Recently, he had swallowed a large amount of resources. Because his lifespan was almost exhausted, he could not fully refine and precipitate the impurities. After the breakthrough, his lifespan would increase and his physical body would be completely restored. The impurities that had settled in his body would also be expelled. Comfortable. Finally, he could breathe freely. It seemed that only a short time had passed since the life-and-death battle with 7-Star Child, but to Su Fong, it was undoubtedly 10,000 years. Mental state attaining a Dao heart Su Fong, who had cultivated for less than 100 years, had forged a firm and indestructible Dao heart through countless life-and-death experiences, making his mental state reach the level of an ancient powerhouse. This level was something that Lan Haicheng could not compare to. Now, even Prince Shui was probably not as good as Su Fong in terms of mental state. Indestructible 7th level. At the moment of breakthrough, Su Fong was like an old antique that had been revived. His aura and expression changed, especially his appearance. He finally returned to his 20-year-old appearance, but he still had silver hair, but no longer gray. If I want to recover my black hair, I have to break through from the indestructible realm to the young nascent realm at the very least. In truth, Su Fong did not care about his appearance. His lifespan was the most important thing. Carefully sensing it, the invisible pressure on his body was still very obvious. It was just a bit less than before. After some calculations, he estimated that this breakthrough had increased his lifespan by around 200 years. The increase in lifespan was not obvious, mainly because Su Fong had used up too much of his own lifespan. Just advancing by one step was not too obvious, unless he stepped from the indestructible realm to the young nascent realm. Being able to increase his lifespan by 200 years was already pretty good. What was the point of having so much lifespan? Without strength, he would still be killed by others. The Five Poisons Divine Sect has existed for tens of thousands of years, and it has been around for over 100,000 years. Even after generations, its accumulated wealth can't compare to Seven Star Child's. Seven Star Child almost killed me, so I can take this treasury with a clear conscience. Senior Marshal's sister, this way, please. In the face of such wealth, Su Fong was already beaming with joy. After entering the hall with Blue Ocean City, they went to the platform at the front. There were a large number of peak-grade spirit stones and all kinds of rare gems. The two of them didn't stand on ceremony and emptied them one by one. Spirit Vein. Near the center, there was a spirit vein on one of the platforms. It was extremely huge, and its height was as high as a peak-grade spirit stone. This was the highest level spirit vein. Blue Ocean City shook his head. When you fight Prince Shui, it will be very helpful. Su Fong didn't stand on ceremony and sucked the spirit vein into the profound yellow space. The Xianhuang Six Paths Pagoda suddenly appeared in the divine aperture and met with the Yang Nascent. Master, there's profound yellow stone and origin jade stones. Su Fong walked forward. Indeed, on a spiritual altar, there were several hundred pieces of profound yellow stone and over 1,000 pieces of primordial jade stone. The profound yellow primordial spirit was extremely excited. Master, these profound yellow stones and origin jade stones can help the profound yellow primordial spirit recover to the 9th level. Then slowly merge them. The gems were given to Blue Ocean City. Su Fong only wanted these 2 gems. When Blue Ocean City arrived at another platform, his face turned pale with fright. Undying flowers, and they're all at the Yang Nascent or Calamity Realm. Looking closely, there were indeed hundreds of undying flowers on the platforms. But they weren't at the Undying or Undying Realm, but at the Yang Nascent or Calamity Realm. And there were hundreds of them. Even for Calamity Realm experts, these undying flowers were peerless treasures. Su Fong and Blue Ocean City split them equally. Just a moment ago, Blue Ocean City was still very reserved. But now, he and Su Fong had completely become treasure hunters. Blue Ocean City's smile was like a flower as he put away the empty bag. His cold and elegant body revealed an enchanting charm. In particular, his cheeks were flushed red. He clicked his tongue as he stared at Su Fong. It was as if flames were about to erupt from his body. With these undying flowers, I'm sure I can reach the high levels of the Calamity Realm within 500 years. Su Fong also had a great harvest. It was even better than eating honey. He had received over 100 undying flowers. It was enough for him to break through and cultivate. Senior apprentice sister, you have to work hard. Look at junior apprentice brother's cultivation speed.